What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Terror Table for episode 78. The Terror Table is the podcast that is dedicated to unfiltered and unrated discussions on the horror genre, and also unedited, so if we say some stupid things, forgive us. My name is Mitch, and alongside me, as usual, is...
I'm Boozy. I'm back. Hello.
And Diego's not here today, but filling in for him, we'd like to introduce and welcome Lee Beckmann, the Beckmann, from Rankin...
The Beckmann.
The Beckmann.
I'm so big. There's the article of the...
Yes. And Lee, how I got to know Lee is has been on numerous episodes of previous guest of the show, Larry Parsons' podcast, Rank and Review. And I gave him a shout out on one of the on the episode that I was on, because I realized when I discovered Larry's podcast, I had gone through his 116 episodes at the time, and I just went, "Ooh, this one sounds like what I'd like. This one sounds like what I'd like. This one's catching my eye." And I kid you not, every single one of them was featuring Lee Beckmann. And then I found out that you chose a lot of those episodes, or most of them, or all of them. But and I felt like, I was like, when you kind of come in contact with someone and you're like, I feel like I'm kindred spirits with this guy. And Lee is a fan. He's a horror fan. I've gotten to know him a little bit just over the interwebs. We met last night for the first time at Larry's movie premiere for Book of Trespasses, which we'll get into.
You actually can't say movie premiere. It was a test screening.
Test screen, yes.
The reason why is that the film is going to go to movie festivals, and they want the tag world premiere.
For sure.
So test screening.
Yeah, and it totally is a test screening, because even they we'll get into that when we talk about it, but there's a lot of, that wasn't like a finished film. They plan on doing some extra things to it, so we'll get into that. But before then, just want to get a few things out of the way. Today, Lee has chosen, he was originally going to choose Night of the Creeps for us to talk about, but we didn't want to do that without Diego here, because that's one of Diego's favorite movies of all time. So hopefully we'll have you back in a couple months. Whenever you're back here, we'll do Night of the Creeps.
Oh, yeah. You won't get rid of me.
Yes. And you gave us a bunch of recommendations of what you'd like to talk about, and one that came up is one that we've been talking about for a really long time, is Jeepers Creepers, which is also a very controversial pick, or controversial movie to talk about right now. And if you're tuning in for the first time, all we ask is that you stick around and you listen to our conversation about it, because we plan on saying, we plan on going deep into everything regarding the movie, and talking about the movie and the production behind it and the director and the response that it's had among horror fans and just people in general. And we just like to be given the chance to be able to talk about it without you just writing it off, being like, oh, they're talking about this movie, fuck this. But just stick around. We promise it'll be a good conversation. That, and one other thing is that next week we'll be doing a Jurassic Park episode, which we'll be talking about all 4 Jurassic Park movies leading up to Fallen Kingdom, which comes out next Thursday. Did you get tickets yet, Boozy?
I've had tickets for a month and a half.
Are you going to the new theater?
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Courtney are going on Friday. So looking forward to that. But yeah, we will be doing that next week. And then the week after that, we will be continuing our listener appreciation series, in which we'll be talking about Kent Blue's pick, Dreamcatcher. So that's going to be funny.
Yay.
Boozy has tried dodging it, and we will not allow it.
I was hoping you guys would do it while I was gone.
Nope, not a chance.
It's something.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun episode. One last thing before we get into talking to Lee about Lee stuff is we want to give a huge shout out to Bryson Burtock and Kenny Manderside, who went out of their way to design Eerie International and Terror Table crossover shirts. And Bryson had them sent out to me. He gave one to me, Boozy, and Diego, and one for Kenny, because Kenny did the design. He sent them to the guys at Eerie International, and a couple of our other listeners, like Lana from Boston, Kent from, I believe, Massachusetts. I could be wrong. I'm sorry.
Somewhere in the south?
Yeah, I love you, Kent. But yeah, no, that words can't describe how the feeling it was, the feeling I had getting that shirt and holding it for the first time, and just seeing how there's no way I can possibly put into words how much we appreciate that and how much it means to us. The show means the world to us, so to know that it's given you some form of entertainment or helped you in any single way, even if it's just entertaining you for a couple hours, means so much to us. And Bryson sent along a really nice note for us that I actually forgot to show you before you got here. So we'll show you in between when we take a break.
Yeah, it was just I don't know, even when it broke that was coming or whatever, that was happening, because I think a couple other people got the shirts before we did. it's just like it blew my mind, and it's still like very unfathomable that someone would actually do that for us.
Yeah.
You know, I still think we're just like that nobody listens. I still have that idea that like nobody really listens to us, but like to have somebody who actually did something like that, that just blows my mind.
Our boy Bryson from Utah, like we've reached Utah. That's amazing to me. But yeah, that's unreal. So we can't thank you guys enough for that, for doing that for us. Hopefully we'll find a way to repay you. I know that Diego and I will be meeting Bryson in Universal Studios this year for Halloween Horror Nights. So yeah, we're going to that. It's going to be fucking awesome.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, so we'll be meeting up with Bryson and Lana from Boston. So that's going to be awesome.
Maybe just give him like a quick tug rub or something.
For you?
For all of us.
I'll give you a little boozy reach around.
Just give him a reach around, man.
Yeah.
That's
the plan. All right, well, thanks, guys. Let's get on with the show here now and get to know Lee a little bit here. So, Lee, the Beckmann.
Yeah.
Horror fan.
And that's one way of looking at it, yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I want to have you on here is that you can just tell that you have lived, eaten, breathed this shit your entire life. And I want to hear your stories about that. Like, what's your first memory with the horror genre?
Take
like,
us way back.
Yeah. Well, since it is Father's Day, and shout out to both my father and also my daughter Maya. Hey, sweetie. Like all kids, I blame my parents for this. My ex-stepfather, who I still call my dad because he helped raise me, was talking about this movie Jaws when I was a little kid, and how scary this movie was, and it just. Like I was hooked, and also my Aunt Liz, who is an awesome human being as well, was like, "Oh yeah, Jaws is really good. You're gonna love it when you see it." I think it was like 8 or 9.
Yes.
And she came to visit one time and said, "It's time."
Okay, like how old were you around?
I think 8 or 9. Like
way too early.
Way too early.
That's around the age I saw Jaws too.
Yeah, but we saw it when we shouldn't have.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of things I saw like way too young. Anyways, they brought the old VHS copy. They rented it from the video store, and they pressed play. And I'd never seen anything like it. Like when that woman Chrissy gets butchered by the shark in the beginning, like it broke my little brain. And that wasn't even the Kittner boy yet. No. When it got to the Kittner boy and like how he was curled, like the gurgling underwater and like the huge squibs exploding. I had like 3 nights of just sheer utter graphic nightmares of like flying sharks, which like led to me reading up everything about sharks. Like I became obsessed with sharks, but also the horror genre. So anything I could get my hands on, I started reading. I tried to read Stephen King, but I was once again way too young. Yeah. He would write these biblical long books like The Stand. But I, like Ghostbusters, Bill took to me, and shout out to Bill Robertson, by the way. He took me to Ghostbusters, and he would take me to. Did you remember the Place Real Theater? Yeah. Rest in peace, by the way. That was amazing theater.
Totally.
And they would have these film festivals, like old Alfred Hitchcock movies, or like they had The Shining. One time they actually had a Friday the 13th Part 3 3D print. So I got to see that for the first time at Place Real, and it was an amazing experience. And I just lapped that stuff up. And then as I got older into my teenage years, I had started to go to theater by myself and see it, and I totally identified with a lot of the monsters. You'll be shocked to know I was a strange child. A little eccentric, and I always identified with a lot of the Universal monsters. I saw them as tragic people that were inflicted by some sort of curse. Yeah. And I identified with that. My ADHD brain just like monsters. And then when I got into university, one thing, because I also come from a family of storytellers, and I started doing research on different cultures and their urban legends and how they would use monsters as a way to sort of explain difficult things that the human condition experience. I know that's a little vague, but every culture has monster stories that talk about, human sexuality, or ways to sort of scare children. Don't do that. Always listen to your parents, or the paddle lady will come and get you.
Yeah.
Or different cultures that, without knowing, they're telling things about that culture. Like in Asia, they're very all about saving face. Like the outward reputation, the outward face is very important to them. And it's a very patriarchal society. So a lot of their ghost stories, if you look at them, have females getting revenge on their male oppressors. I know that's a little too Me Too, but it's that common theme sort of kept up, and I became fascinated by different cultures using the horror genre to explain things, and that was always engaging to me. So that's the sort of Cole's Notes version of why I love horror.
That's awesome. Yeah, you did the whole thing there. You answered how you like it and with where it began. So that's not, couldn't ask for more than that. Yeah. That's funny, man, because I was the same way. Like when I first saw Jaws, like my very first time that I ever used the internet, I searched Jaws. Yeah, that was like so that led me down the path that I am now in this disgustingly nerdy room with lots of death.
It is not nerdy. It's a beautiful thing. It's like a bloody church, dude.
It is my palace.
Oh my god.
So within the horror genre, what's your niche in there? Like what's your favorite kinds of horror movies? The ones you gravitate towards?
I'm not judgmental. I will literally soak up everything. And I go through streaks. I mean, sometimes it's a slasher. In high school, it was the zombies things. Like me and my friend Chris Harrow and Larry Parsons, we watched the Romero, at the time, zombie trilogy, and we would have these epic long conversations like, what would happen if zombies took over the world? Would we go to the mall and live there, or would we, travel along the road? And we would make maps and all these detailed plans, like just really nerdy ass shit. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not judgmental. I love The Exorcist, and I have read a whole bunch of articles on what that story is talking about. As you can see, I'm a big Halloween fan. Maybe not, the listeners at home can't see it, but I'm wearing the Halloween T-shirt.
And last night you were wearing a Friday the 13th shirt. Yeah. Noticed that as well.
Yeah.
Traitor.
Sorry. Anything I will eat up. I try and see different cultures and their horror movies. Like I said, that's kind of what I'm into. Every summer I seem to get into a lot of exploitation horror flicks. I seem to be I saw Cannibal Holocaust again recently.
Yeah. A fan?
Yeah, big fan. I can understand why people don't like it.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a grisly movie.
Yeah. But I try, and I saw Demons recently for the first time.
Oh, Demons.
87?
Yeah,
I'm trying to catch up on classics that I haven't seen.
Yeah, Demons 2 is awesome as well.
Is it? I haven't seen it. It's on my list. It's on my queue. But I saw Demons, like, oh my god, why did I wait this long?
I know. Have you seen Demons, Boozy?
I actually have both the DVDs, 1 and 2. I haven't watched them yet, but I have them ready to go.
Great theatrical horror.
It's juicy, dude. Yeah. It's so beautifully slimy. It's awesome. So I am not judgmental. I will see anything once.
Okay. Is there anything maybe that you don't like? I know like a lot of people aren't big on like found footage or...
I think the found footage has been exploited a lot. So I guess if there's one, it would be that. But once again, there's some great found footage movies. For sure is. There's a Bigfoot one. I can't remember the name of
Willow Creek.
Yeah, there's that. And there's a couple of Bigfoot found footage ones. I'm a big supporter of Blair Witch.
Love it.
Just one.
The second one. Oh my god. I did like the third one.
Like the remake or the newish one.
Yeah,
I liked it as well.
When she's like digging in the tunnel beneath the house.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, the last 20 minutes of that movie is fucking incredible.
That's the best part. Yeah.
Yeah, but like there is because that was our first episode.
That was.
We went and saw Blair Witch, and I remember because Diego and Boozy really didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I wanted, like, I was like, I fucking loved it. But I think it was because I was, like, wanting to like it so bad. Yeah. So when I went back and rewatched it, I still like it. Yeah. But I totally get where they're coming from, where, like, the first hour of that movie has all been done. And it's all retread.
Well, and they set up so much stuff that never paid off.
But, that's the thing, man. I feel like that's the ultimate payoff. Like, that last 20 minutes was just, like... unreal. Like I loved that last 20 minutes, but I just wish the whole movie would have been like that. But
I think with that with the recent one, because it was a lot of greatest hits of the original Blair Witch, like when they're in that time loop and they can't sleep, they needed greater characterization for that to earn that, and that's something that the first one had.
Yes,
a lot of ways, because I saw the director's cut, the festival cut before it hit the theaters. And in that, there's a lot more build-up. They actually interview the town a lot, and it's a lot of oral storytelling.
In the remake or
the first one, there is
to me, that's the scariest part, was the town. Like, seeing people, how fucking mortified they are from the story and how much they believed it. When I saw that as a kid, I thought that was a real documentary.
Yeah.
You weren't alone in that. There's so
everyone,
many.
And it was like, that was one of the most terrifying things that you could experience. And that's why, regardless of if it still scares me today, I will always love it for that reason alone.
The festival cut has a couple of monologues by townspeople where they're telling old stories of the Blair Witch, like coming and taking children from the creek or the river, that are absolutely chilling. And I get why they cut it out, because it would have been 2.5 hours long, and you needed to get to the forest at some point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was absolutely chilling. And there's something about just oral stories that can create such visceral pathos and power. That's the strength of Blair Witch, is that it's the storytelling and then the acting in that movie. Like those three actors are amazing balls.
Totally. And I can't the debate always comes up as if you would have liked to see the witch in Blair Witch. And yes, like, have you seen the Todd McFarlane design of, like, he did a design of what the Blair Witch was supposed to look like?
Okay.
Fucking horrifying. It's brutal. I'll pull it up eventually here, but awesome. But I personally think, like, there's nothing scarier than that guy looking in the corner of the room. Like, that's just classic
I think
urban
it's
legend
fine
material.
the way it is,
Totally.
because it's what your brain thinks of, as opposed to what you're actually visually
it would have made
seeing.
it way less believable too if you would have seen this monster or something like that. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great movie. I think so, like, what about recent movies? Like, have you gotten around to see stuff like what's something that stood out to you in the last couple of years?
Last couple of years, well, It Follows was one that I went, oh my god, this man knows what he's doing. Like, obviously a great tip of the hat to John Carpenter.
Yeah.
I love that, you call it STIs. Back in the day they call it STDs. was a visceral ghost, and it just keeps on coming. Like, it walks. It doesn't run. It just walks and walks. And the idea of that creature, that ghost, that fucks its victims to death. Like, if you think about it, you can't outrun it unless you pass that virus on. So you can get in a plane, go to another
and they talk
country.
all about, and that's some of the best stuff, is you're never safe. You might be far away from it, but you're never safe.
Yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah.
It's like herpes. You carry that shit forever like luggage, man.
That's one that always comes up in, like, recent horror movies, and well-deserved so. Like, but I know a lot of people are like, they get to the point where just, like, a lot of people weren't crazy about It Follows. But I feel like that is going to be like a Rosemary's Baby. Like, it's going to be in line with The Exorcist. Same with recently, I know we'll get into it because Boozy saw it, but our last episode we did Hereditary. Have you seen Hereditary yet?
No, and don't say.
I won't say anything.
I
want to. I was going to try and see it this weekend, but I had too many friends and family to see.
You gotta quit having so many friends, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Cut them out.
More time for movies, less friends.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah, that and also being a father and a teacher kind of takes up your time. Another one I've seen recently is From a Whisper to a Scream. As you know, that DVDs and Blu-rays are starting to become a thing of the past.
Yes, unfortunately.
But Giant Tiger is one of these last bastions.
Really?
Oh God, yes. Go to a Giant Tiger. And also, usually go to the areas, the more economically challenged areas. That's where I've noticed where they have the bigger DVD sales.
Yep. And actually, funny story too, one of my friends, Matt, got Jeepers Creepers on Blu-ray for $2.
Yep.
From Giant Tiger, brand new.
I need to go to...
Yeah, I haven't been there in a couple of years. This was like 4 or 5 years ago.
I've been there like once, and I think I bought a wolf's sweater.
Yeah. They're one of the last bastions. That and, like, it used to be the Superstore, but now they're getting rid of theirs.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, they've gotten so much smaller. I used to work there when I was like 15, and even compared from like then 10 years later, it's just this tiny, their electronics section is so small.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've been forced to shop online if we
Yeah.
want to do that stuff. Like it is unfortunate that we can't shop local for that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but
it's going to be like there's going to be like records in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It'll be very vintage, and then you'll pay way too much money.
well, that's even like we now have Sunrise Records in Saskatoon here. I think
Do you
we
guys
two
have
of
that in
them.
Regina as well?
yeah.
And they have, I kid you fucking not, they had 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. A movie came out last year on Blu-ray for $49.99.
No.
Yeah, and I was like, you guys, like, I told him, I was like, this is a screw up. He's just like, no, unfortunately, it's not. That's actually what we're supposed to be marking them at, but they're labeled in certain sale sections as less. I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like that's so stupid.
Just one disc.
Like a couple, there's like a one row of them in the main.
But like for the actual movie, it's just one disc,
Yes.
no special features
No,
or
it's-
anything, no
it's
box.
It's what you could go to Best Buy for $19.99.
Fuck.
And and then even they have a plethora of all these amazing like Arrow Video, Scream Factory, all those releases, but they're all like $40 fucking minimum, and it's like like. You know I'm gonna pay for this, but it's like,
but fuck you.
You're stupid, but no, I get it, man. Unfortunately, because now I'm a father and have to be responsible.
Yeah.
My me money kind of has shrunken a little bit because you gotta pay for those
gratefully so, man.
martial art lessons and whatnot.
Hell yes.
Anyways, I've seen actually. I got this from Giant Tiger. It's an anthology horror movie. It's actually Vincent Price's last movie, 1987. It's called From a Whisper to a Scream.
Never heard of it.
I've heard of it and I still have never seen it.
I can leave it here. I can lend it to you if you want. It's
No, I don't. You live in Regina. I appreciate it,
Okay.
but I don't. That's your baby.
Okay. It's okay. Overall, it's not a good movie. Like all anthology movies, there are some stories that are stronger than others. But the first story, because I've seen way too many horror movies, like just way too many.
No such thing.
You're right. I'll take that back. If you show me something new, you get my attention. The first story. Do you know Clu Gallagher at all?
Yeah, I know of the name. Yeah.
He, we've all seen Return of the Living Dead.
Yes.
Here. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know the guy who owns the factory? That's
Yes.
That's
Okay,
that's Clu Gallagher. He gives a performance like he's completely unrecognizable, and he's such this odd man who lives in this small town, which all these stories revolve around. And he has a rather unhealthy relationship with his sister, like they bath together.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, but
saving water. That's all it is.
Yes, that's what I was saying. But my wife was like, "What the fuck is this?" Sorry, honey.
They're being frugal, okay?
Yes, exactly. Hard times. Anyways, but he has true affection for the local MILF of the community.
Yes.
And he eventually gets this date, and like all awkward people, he professes his true love too early and is rejected and does not handle it well. And I don't want to say anything else because I do want you to see this movie, but let's just say that the story turns into a zombie mutant baby shows up.
Love it.
And it goes and just imagine how that was created. and it goes there. It goes there. It's like I was like, they're not going to. Oh my god, they did. Good for them.
It's kind of like, have you seen that It's Alive? Like Larry Cohen?
I have all three and seen them, of course.
I've only seen the first one so far, but that one was fucking
fucked.
bizarre.
It's fucked.
And what makes it so fucked is how serious they take it.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's not a joke.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, totally.
I love Larry Cohen, man.
Yeah.
Larry Cohen, like Q, the Winged Serpent, and he had a whole blaxploitation run. Hell Up in Harlem, if you like blaxploitation, which is another thing I've been sort of into. I just finally saw the original Superfly recently.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Very much of its time, very 70s. Love the soundtrack. It's good. It's good.
We talked about this last week with our friends on another podcast, So Be It. I just saw Tales from the Hood for the first time.
Nice.
And that's fucking so good.
It is.
And it holds up it holds up so well.
Yeah.
But that's an example. That's one of the most consistent anthologies I've seen in a while.
There's a good long run of black horror movies.
Yeah.
That's something that I have on my list. I want to see Ganja and Hess.
Yeah.
I want to see that. There's Blackenstein that I want to see.
Yes. Have you seen Blackula?
I own both the first two. In fact, I think on the 70s list, I had it at number 25.
Yes, that's where
I love Blackula.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard at that movie. And of course you can love it. It starts off with like 70s funk.
Yeah, totally.
So
and I want to give a quick shout out to both the best of the 1970s and best of the 1980s episodes that you're on for rank and review. If you haven't for some reason gone back, I've already plugged rank and reviews the 80s episodes so many times, but those two episodes in particular, like that's just like my dream discussion for 3 hours. Like I would love to do that on here.
Tell you what, we'll get you on. I've been trying to convince Larry, and I know that he'll listen to this and think, fuck yes, he's their problem now.
Yes. Has he done a 90s episode yet?
Not yet. That has been given to another person.
Yeah.
Not that I'm choked, Larry.
Oh.
But I'm doing the 2000s to 2010. I've been trying to get him. I've been trying to like. Well, he has done.
Are you supposed to fill 20? How many movies?
25.
There's 25 good horror movies.
I know. Yeah. I know. We'll get you on. We'll get both of you on here, and we should probably do like a best of. What I want to do is like best 25 horror films all time. Like just
that's what.
Fuck the decades. Just like.
That'd be so hard.
I don't want to announce it, but that's what I want to do for our 100.
Yeah, fair.
I'm just saying it, but like, yeah, that's I've been talking about, thinking about it in my head. I've already started making my list. I haven't given them the chance to.
Yeah, it's hard.
My list would be so all over the place.
Yeah, but the thing is, I get it. It's gonna be hard, but I'm one of those guys who everything's my favorite.
Yeah.
Like I'm guilty of that. So I want to use this as a time to set the record straight. To be like, no, I wasn't kidding. Anaconda is one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
If it's not one of Mitch's favorites, it's one of the best in the last however many years he decides for that particular thing.
Yes, I'm guilty of that. I'm sorry for being passionate and loving this.
No,
shit.
it's so funny though, because it'll be like, this was like, it's probably one of the, if not the best in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
and this one was like the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that John Voight's in a totally different movie from the rest of the cast.
I know. That's the best part.
He's in his own island. Like,
I love how the whole movie he's making up facts about anacondas.
It's the winking.
Yeah. Oh, the winking. Yeah,
and
he's trying to be a snake.
Yeah. Oh my god, that movie.
It's method acting to a whole new level.
Yeah. No,
it's great.
Yeah, he showed up and earned his paycheck on that one.
Yes. Awesome. So you've seen From Whisper to a Scream lately. What else have you taken?
I've been actually sort of visiting the old Walt Disney horror movies.
Ooh, I've heard so much about this one. Say it on here.
Okay, it's called The Watcher in the Woods. Disney in the 1970s and 80s, their film portion was not doing so well, and they wanted to expand into the more adult market, but still they were, kid movies. So they were trying.
But they were horrifying kid movies.
They are.
Yeah.
And they attempted a couple movies, something Wicked This Way Comes, which is good.
Yes,
it's good, not great, but good.
Yeah.
And they also had The Watcher in the Woods, and as a kid, this is one of the movies that freaked me the fuck out.
Is this a witch one?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much for the viewers at home. In the end, it's not a great movie. Time's not treated it well.
Yeah.
Sold.
Not the best. Not the best of the last 40 years.
Yeah. When you do finally see the monster, if you will, it looks awful. Like
sometimes that's a good thing.
Okay, this is the kind of movie, like, whatever you do, whether it's libations or anything else that you consume, and you sit down with your buddies and just apologize to your brain.
Yeah,
it's that kind of movie.
Yes,
because once again, they're so serious. Like Betty Davis was like way over the top. David McCallum's in it, and he's just all over the map. Anyways, when they finally reveal the monster at the end, it looks like terrible. Like it's like they added like slinkies, the toy slinkies, for like the eyes and like plastic cups, and it shows up and it's like walking like Frankenstein's monster. You can almost see the strings show up, but it's a faraway shot, and it's just like I laughed so hard like snot was coming out of my nose. It's pretty bad, but honestly, the first 20 minutes are really creepy. Long story short, this young woman comes to visit her crazy aunt because her family's going through something, and she discovers that there's this mystery around this famous mansion she's staying in, and that 20 years ago, a girl the same age as her, who looked exactly like her, just disappeared. And she starts hearing things, and the clocks give off like weird sound and whatnot, and all of a sudden the mirrors, a triangle, the triangle shape shows up in the mirrors all of a sudden, and it shows this blindfolded girl in this triangle and these shards of glass, blindfolded, screaming, "Help me, help me." And it's creepy as fuck. Especially as a little kid, you're like, what the hell? And it's still pretty powerful. It's just when the more we see the creature, the more we go, okay.
Yeah, I have a question to ask. Okay, depending if you'd seen it or not, is it as bad as the robot at the end of Logan's Run, Goofy?
It's worse, dude.
Really?
It's bad.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Of course I do. It's
because that's just like there's cardboard on him.
I'd say it's close. You can see the cardboard. It's like they spray painted. I think they ran out of money is what I think happened, but it's that bad. Let's just say that some of my students this year built a robot for Education Week, and it looks 10 times better than what they have in this movie. I'm
picturing the scene in Ed Wood with Bela Lugosi in the swamp.
You got it exactly. I just had the Super Mario Brothers thing as this creature shows up. It's that bad, man. But it's a film that only a true horror movie nerds would love.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
Well, obviously the big thing was last night was the test screening of Book of Trespasses. My good friend Larry Parson and Jared Barry and Gareth Nickel have been working on this horror movie for 5 years. For Larry, it's 7. He wrote this script 7 years ago and finally wanted to get off his ass and do something. And I've been with him through the whole process, not with him all the time, but I've known and kept in touch and visited him and was on set for a couple of times.
I noticed you in the movie last night.
Yes.
You were in the psych ward.
I was. Yes. That and my brother. He had that creepy smile at the end of that sequence.
Oh, when the book was on fire?
That's my brother with the
and he was front row.
Yeah. Just completely...
I was like, that's the Beckmann!
Yeah, completely stone looking, going drool coming down. You don't see it. Yeah. Anyways, went and saw that last night, and
we'll all talk about this. But you keep going here.
That was the big thing, and it was an amazing experience. Finally seeing it. Good seeing old friends and meeting some new ones.
Yeah.
But it was. They have something here.
Yeah.
They have something here. It's not without its flaws, like all movies, but considering. I know how much this film cost, but it's way beyond that. Like literally the blood, sweat, and tears, all the pain they went through, and the amount of commitment they got to with this final product.
Yeah.
It brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah.
And it's a Saskatchewan homegrown, homemade story. So I'm very proud of my friend this morning, and it's good. Like
yeah.
It is good. Like it's a strong piece. And shout out to Capico Films. I'm supposed to plug this. Sorry,
Jared Barry.
Yeah, Jared Barry. Sorry. Okay, Capico Films. So anyone listening to this from overseas, go to Capico Films website.
How do you spell that?
K-A-P-P. I'll pull it up right here. Yeah. I know it's K-A-P-P-A-C-O.
We should probably find that out. We're gonna plug them.
I'm failing, dude. Sorry.
I'll pull it up right now. I'll pull it because I went to high school with Jared Barry as well.
Oh, so, I've got questions.
Well, he was good friends with my girlfriend Courtney, but I never got to know him personally.
Yeah.
But regardless, I've always known Jared to be I was just graduating the year that he was making his first zombie movie, which nice. Larry was a part of, Flatline.
Yeah.
And that's like the bottom line about this movie, in my opinion, is that it doesn't even matter. Like we'll get into the quality of the film and and everything, but they didn't talk about doing this. They went out and did it. And they made an hour and 40-minute film, a feature-length film, and they did it all with like probably under 10. There's three people who were financing it by themselves.
Yep.
Correct. Like so they did all of this by themselves, and that alone, Larry wrote the whole script, and then Jared and Larry shot it. But the acting that we have in Saskatoon is pretty unbelievable. I feel like honestly the shining aspect of this movie is the acting. Like how I wasn't expecting there to be some actual decent actors in this movie. Above decent, I want to give a shout out to Josh Beaudry, who played Henry. I thought he was the star of the movie. Like he's so good.
He's pretty strong. Yeah,
he's great. Matthew Burgess was amazing.
Yep.
One that really shocked me is that Larry can act. Mm-hmm. Larry's a fucking because I've never seen Larry perform. I know he's been acting for many years.
Yeah.
But Larry's opening scene was like, fuck, man, this
He
guy's got
busted some chops out
yeah,
there.
He's
Yeah,
got some
Yeah.
chops, and like, and you can tell that was filmed like 5 years. Like, you can tell it was filmed a long time ago because he's just like different now.
Yep.
But it's just like, man, he's got some chops. So like, regardless of this was a test screening, so like you said, there's some things they need to tighten up. For me, my main, if I were to delve into criticisms, I'm one of the people who's having a little bit of trouble with the narrative.
Okay.
And that's something that I know that they already know about, and they're
Yeah.
gonna tighten it up a bit. That and the sound, which isn't fully their fault. Like,
Yeah.
that's what this test screening is for.
Yep.
And that's why they, like, it was awesome in the Q&A. Larry was like, we figured out that we may have a bass problem because like during
The
this,
whole theater was just
Shake.
rumbling.
See, I liked that.
I like it too, but it was blowing out though. It
Yeah.
can be loud, but it was blowing
My
out.
teeth were rattling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I love the rumble. I know some people. How did they describe it? They were having sensory issues. I like that.
Quick second here. Kappaco. Capaco Films.
Yes.
So if you go on, and same with you can go on Facebook, Twitter, or Facebook and Instagram, and follow Book of Trespasses, the movie, to keep in contact with what they're doing, because they're going to be they're getting a THX master of the movie,
I know.
which is amazing. So that just means that all the sound problems that we're talking about will be solved.
Yeah.
And like this was like a very intimate test screening.
Yeah.
It wasn't a premiere, like I previously said. I apologize. But yeah, no, you can keep going here if you'd like to say more.
Let's talk about the acting. That was one thing that really, I think, works in its favor, because a lot of independent films sometimes have people that are not actors, and you can tell, and it's pretty strong. I forget the young man who is actually tortured at the beginning. I never met him.
Devin.
I
know Devin something. I don't know his last name, but he was the one who couldn't make it last night.
Yeah,
he was the only actor
and we
who was
did the whole like wave to him. He's
Yeah.
in Toronto. To me, I thought he was the best.
Yeah.
I enjoyed him a lot more. I went to university with like Josh and Larry and all of them, so I know
Who's the female? Sorry, the one female.
I don't know.
And that's what.
And that's what I feel so bad.
I don't.
I feel like
She's
such
good.
an asshole because she is so good.
Yeah,
And
she's good, and I feel so bad.
She was so good, and also the whole time I was like, she is so hot.
She's not ugly. Yeah.
Yeah, but like also we were sitting directly behind her and Josh Beaudry
Yeah.
and especially this isn't people forget about it by the time they are able to see it, but there's a sex scene in it.
Yeah,
and you
okay,
could just see her just like shudder, like she just
Well,
fucking
and yeah,
delved
and like
into-
I can't be the only one, but even I was kind of going like, "Ugh, I don't want to see this much.
well, that because Boozy's directly behind her.
Yeah.
I've got a funny story, because like I wanted to ask a question in the theater about the sex scene, but I knew the boys would like, fucking Beckman. Of course you'd ask.
Yeah,
that
I was
question.
gonna ask that too, but like, yeah, it was funny because at one point you kind of see the tattoo she had on the back of her neck,
Yeah.
and then I'm sitting directly behind her, so I like turn and look, and I'm like, oh, there she is.
Yeah. Okay, so funny story, and I'm sure Jared wouldn't mind this story, and hopefully the female actor will not.
I'm gonna try to find her name because
Yeah,
I feel
please
wrong
do, because I
doing
do
this.
feel bad, and she does give a great performance.
Devin Ross was the one that we were talking about before.
Yes.
Okay, you keep going. Oh,
Anyway, so it came. I think it was one of the last scenes that they actually.
Elizabeth Nepchuk.
Elizabeth Nepchuk?
Yeah, Elizabeth Nepchuk. She plays Katie K. Belcher.
Yeah. By the way, you did a brave, amazing performance. You're very
Totally.
good. So shout out to you. Anyways, it came time. I think it was one of the last scenes they were going to film to shoot that scene in the tent, and she agreed to it, and they were getting to do this scene, and like, okay, you're gonna orgasm and everything.
Yeah.
And it was all in the tent, and she just said only Jared be in the tent with obviously Matt and myself. And Jared felt so uncomfortable, like he wanted to leave, but she's like, no, you're staying.
You watch.
You
sit there and you watch.
You're gonna watch this.
You did this.
Yes. And so like you're gonna do and stay, and then he's like, and he so wanted to leave the tent, and she's like, no.
Was he just in like the farthest corner of the tent?
Yeah. And apparently he was giving instructions. Okay, your orgasm is building now. Can I get you anything? Really? Can I get you anything? It's like, the only thing is you're staying. It was almost like punishment for putting this in.
Yeah.
So they did that.
It's like when a dog shits on the floor and you rub its face.
Anyways, he felt so uncomfortable, but they shot the scene, and then it came time to do the sound, and then she said, everyone leave the sound studio. I'm going to be doing the sound by myself, of course. And so they had to sit outside and hear this, and she just did the orgasm sounds. But yeah, man, like I was shocked.
She had to go through that twice.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing is, like, actor, like, that's part of making a movie. Like, that scene is crucial, and like that happens in every movie. But you don't really put it into perspective how awkward it probably is until you're sitting in front of the woman. While watching it happen.
I know
on the big screen.
I know.
And the theater was just dead quiet.
Yeah. I can't imagine. And her parents were there too.
Oh,
Can you imagine? Like, there's my baby.
Yeah, that's our girl.
Fucking the shit out of some stranger.
Yes.
Even more that Matty Burgess is a high school teacher.
And his students
showed up and his bare ass was in the movie.
Yeah. And he was great. And he looks identical to the guy who stars in The Ritual. We talked about that last night.
Yeah.
He looks like a perfect, like, but no, he was really good. And also, that's the other thing is, I don't know if it was an intentional thing, and I felt awkward. I was going to ask it, but I didn't. But he lost like an insane amount of weight in that movie. Yep. So like that's amazing.
I kind of wonder if Matthew wanted to look a little bit like Larry. It was the hairstyle.
Yeah.
Who knows? I might be reading too much into it. I do that sometimes with horror movies. But
do you feel like this movie is Larry working out some things?
Yes.
Yeah, I felt that.
Absolutely. Knowing Larry, and he was bullied as a kid, and we talked about it last night.
The movie features like heavy themes of bullying. We'll talk about.
Very timely. Yeah, absolutely. And dealing with that catharsis and that trauma. Absolutely. It's a very personal project for him.
Yeah. Well, this is a first movie for Larry. Like, so the fact that they went out and they got to do this, and they got like an actual screening, and they got asses in the seats to see this movie, and it looked great, and like there's things that they got to tighten up, but like for a first movie, it's pretty like it's extremely admirable. It is, and I'm very, very, very proud of him. And I know Boozy is as well.
And it's awesome to see, even though like how dismal the industry is in Saskatchewan, that people are still going out and doing that.
They went for 3 different grants and they didn't get any of them. That's amazing that they still went out and they still they said fuck you, and they made it themselves.
And it's just been getting worse over time, because like when I was in film school and high school, that was a conversation going on the whole time, is there's not a big industry in Saskatchewan and it's shrinking, and over the years it's just gotten worse.
There was a time that it was pretty strong.
Yeah, no, and there for sure there was. And then they like grants and funding started getting cut, and they really don't care about the arts that much in Saskatchewan, unfortunately.
All these actors did this for free.
Yeah.
Everyone who did this movie did it for free, and like that is so fucking amazing.
Well, and everyone who had any hand in it, like, had a huge hand in it. Even look at like Larry, is like, he wrote it, then he directed it, he acted in it, he was doing stuff with the boom mic, he was doing color correction,
he was doing everything.
Everything.
And we've talked about this off mic, but I feel like we should quickly say, Boozy, how me and Boozy love Larry.
Yeah.
Like, we just think he's fucking awesome.
He is a sweetheart.
He's such a great dude.
He's a big teddy bear.
He is, and he's a whole, like, that's why even like discovering Rank and View, when he messaged me and told me about Rank and View, I was just like, there's always that little bit of you being like, it's probably gonna suck, but then it's like when you listen to it, it's like, this guy knows, he's a plethora of knowledge. He cares deeply about all this stuff. He puts so much of his time and effort into understanding every element of these movies, and no better person to make movies himself than someone like that.
Yeah.
Have you seen his DVD collection?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it. I was in his house, but he never showed it to me.
It literally puts Blockbuster to shame.
Really?
It's
Is it all alphabetically sorted?
Not only is it alphabetically sorted,
but genres and shit.
But the horror genre is like downstairs, and it's like put in different genre, like different genres. Yeah, like he's the character from High Fidelity.
Yes, that's me too.
Yeah, well, me too. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. No, like it's
all of us are pieces of shit.
I know. It's both a beautiful and horrifying thing. Shout out to Lauren Baker for allowing that to happen in the house as well. It's like, it's both beautiful and horrifying that if you want to know where a lot of Larry's money went to, all you have to do is go downstairs and go into the living room.
That's awesome.
I know when they were doing the Q&A, you could kind of see like how overcome, I guess, Larry was with like emotion. It's like, man, I just wanted to get up there and like hug him. Like, and I've only met him once, and I just I feel like I know him really well, and I want to be his friend and hang out. You
should like.
Yeah, he's a great person.
Be a guest on Rank. Both of you come back, and you go on Rank and Review. What you see is what you get. Yeah. Like, Larry is so authentic. He's such a sweet man. Yeah. I love him. He's my best friend. He's and also a horror movie lover.
And you can just tell he just like exudes passion for everything he does. There's not like a what can I get out of this thing. It's totally just about passion for everything he's doing.
Absolutely, and he did it.
Yeah.
He did it. Like I kept on going back to it. Like even he had another friend come down, and we were doing an episode of Rank and Review, and we both started off saying, "You know what? You did this. Take this moment, bask it in."
Exactly. You know how many people talk about wanting to do this or that? Yeah. Even, you know what? Even if he'd never made the movie and just wrote the script, how many people can actually say that they wrote an entire script? Most people go like, "Oh yeah, I could write something," and then they'll not they won't do it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And once again, Jared Barry, much love to Gareth Nickel as well. I don't know if you caught the variant it said for Marcy.
Yep.
I hope I don't get in trouble, but Marcy was the girlfriend of Gareth, who passed away due to cancer, and so that's a big like tribute to her, because I know the ghost of her is also in that script, and I know that it means a lot to Marcy as well that this got put out, and a lot to Gareth as well. I know he worked insane hours, doing a lot of work, and he deserves a lot of credit. When I saw him last night, he had that obsessive look in his eyes in the ring saying, "All right, I found 5 things that we can change with this movie." I'm like, dude, get some sleep.
Was he the one who fucked up the mic real bad at the beginning?
Yeah.
Because that was so funny. When he walked up and put the mic down and was like, whoa.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, Gareth, I've done the same thing. I love you.
And that's why it was intentional me saying he fucked it in case he listens.
Yeah.
It's a total joke. I understand.
No, but all it's just, they need some, right now these boys need some sleep.
Oh yeah, big time. I could not even imagine. And even like Matthew Burgess was talking about how he's like, it's like being and this brings me back to one last question for you before we get on to what Boozy's been watching. Mm-hmm. But Matthew Burgess brought up how like he's a married man, and he was like, I'm gonna be going out of town filming overnight for a place that I'm not filming, like I'm not being paid for this.
Yeah,
like that's
over the course of what, 4 years,
4 or 5 years. So next time you like watch it, like that's the thing is, even if you watch a movie and it's a complete piece of shit, you understand that people care, and people like there's so much effort put into these. And I wasn't saying that that's what this movie is. That's not at all what I'm saying.
Yeah. Just overall,
overall, it's a feat to make a feature length film.
Oh yeah.
And watching like how these guys all did that, like it's just extremely admirable, and double hander for them. Two-hander.
Side story, because I was talking with Josh Beaudry last night as well about this. The scene where he is buried underneath all that wood and his fear of ticks. And
that was hilarious.
Like during that time, his son had just been born. Like I think it was like weeks old. So he's in that cycle and mode. But he was also part of Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan, so he had that. So imagine your new father, and then you're also like during the day, rehearsing for like not one but 2 Shakespeare plays, and then at night for free going out.
You're being burned alive.
And being burned alive.
Getting ticks all over you and burned alive.
Like, shout out to Josh Beaudry as well. You big brass balls, buddy.
Oh, fuck. I loved him in that film. Yeah, he was sitting in front of us. I'm like, man, this guy's a great actor.
Oh,
yeah, especially when it like switches gears to him being like nicer.
Yeah, his comedic timing in the movie made it for me as well.
Isn't that scene great where he like wakes up and the first question he asks is, "Where's Kate?"
Yeah, he's like, "How's our girl?"
How's our girl? Not like, "Oh, I'm about to die a really painful death, and can we not do this?" But hey,
I told you I can't die.
I can't die, motherfucker.
It's awesome. Oh yeah, we'll keep you guys up to date if there's ever a chance that we'll be able to let our listeners see this film as well. And we look forward to having Larry back on the show as well. And I know Jared's going to be coming on in the next couple months here. So, but that brings me to my question. One last quick question. So you're a married man. And you have a child. How do you watch these movies with your wife? Is she a fan as well?
She is a fan. She can only take so much. Yeah. She's a big lover of Ash Williams.
Okay.
Of Evil Dead. She has not seen.
She's perfect in my books.
Yep. She has not and will not see the first Evil Dead because the tree rape thing is too much for her. Yeah. She can't watch dogs being killed. And
neither can we.
And kids now I think is a little much.
Can I tell you one quick thing? And I don't mean this as a spoiler, but do not see Hereditary with her.
Yeah, I figured as such. I figured as such. Yeah. But we both we watch Preacher together, which is not necessarily horror.
No, well, it's got tinges.
Yeah, but we watched Ash vs. Evil Dead season 3, and Rest in peace, the series, by the way. So she loves the Evil Dead. She loves the Romero. But anything involving children is a hard thing, and I totally get it.
I get that as well. Yeah.
And she loves the supernatural. She kind of likes like the originals, that sort of CM vampire stuff. I tend to stay away from that.
Oh, like the teeny. It's kind of a teenager, like Supernatural, but with vampires.
Yeah. And she kind of digs.
Hey man, it's better than just not even giving this stuff a chance at all.
Yeah,
because that's what a lot of people go through.
Yeah. She will never watch things like Cannibal Holocaust,
and I totally would never ask her to.
Yeah, no.
Like I've told Courtney, I was like, you do not need to see it. She was like, I want to watch Cannibal Holocaust, like, because she watches everything with me. I'm like, there's just certain things that I just know that you don't want to see. That. Like you don't, and I, as much as I appreciate Cannibal Holocaust, that's not one that I'm ever like, you need to see Cannibal Holocaust. Yeah, because it's for a crowd.
Yeah, but I will say this: one of my birthdays, we went and saw the Piranha 3D by Alexandre Aja, and the lesbian underwater scene with that classical musical piece
when
playing.
The dick floats.
Not the dick floats. Okay. Those two female the lesbian scene essentially underwater. It's so over the top, and they're making out and swimming. She was laughing so hard. Oh yeah, and she got it. She got it.
I feel like those movies get a bad rap. Like I think they are so much fun.
Look, man,
they're fucking so stupid.
Piranha is awesome. Both the original and the remake.
What about Piranha 2, The Spawning? Joe Dante.
It's on there.
Yeah,
it's on there.
It exists.
James Cameron's first movie.
Yep, totally.
Yeah, no, and Lance Henriksen. We were speaking about Lance Henriksen earlier. No, Piranha 2, The Spawning is great. I mean,
I'm looking forward. It's coming out on Blu-ray at the end of July.
Nice.
I'm very excited.
Nice. I'm excited about Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Yes, John Carpenter and Someone's Watching. I think it's one of John Carpenter's other TV movies.
Cool John Carpenter story.
Yes, let's hear it.
Okay, so, and this is a little nerdy. When I first got onto Twitter, and I don't really go on Twitter all that much, I looked up, John Carpenter. And the real John Carpenter, I thought, okay, I'll try. And so I was asking questions, and I got this response. And then so I decided to see, is this the real John?
Yeah.
So I asked one question about the end of the thing, and this person gave the perfect response. I thought, okay. And then I asked this question about this defunct Nicolas Cage movie that he was supposed to make with Nicolas Cage. It was a prison escape movie that never got made. And he answered it perfectly. And I said, you are the real John Carpenter. And he said, yes, I am. And so I asked all these nerdy questions. And
excuse me, John?
Yeah. Oh, I was so embarrassing. But I was like walking out. It was like I had sex for the first time.
Oh,
it's
man,
like
that's
I
better.
spoke to John Carpenter. And my
Just
wife
go light a cigarette out.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
he answered the thing question.
Oh my god. My wife's just like shaking
I'm a man now.
Yes. Today I am a man. So I had this like Twitter conversation with John Carpenter and asked him all these nerdy questions, and my wife.
Isn't it nice that he spent like however long in his day just talking to you?
I know. It's I know.
Because he didn't have to do any of that shit. He could play video games and get high or whatever the fuck he does all day.
And that's what he does. He watches basketball, makes music with his son, and gets high.
Yeah.
And he, he's big into like rights for dogs and cats. His wife as well.
Yeah,
he's perfect.
He's a saint. He's my saint.
He's awesome. He's a cranky little fucker apparently, but I love him.
I love it. And that's one of my friends. Shout out to Seb, who designed our Terror Table logo. He met John Carpenter recently because he went to his concert. And the picture of him with John Carpenter is exactly what you would expect.
Of course.
Because, like, Seb was just, like he is...
beaming.
Seb is the, like, and that's... I don't say this lightly. Seb is the biggest horror fan I know. Like, the biggest nerd pop culture fan I've ever met. He is amazing. But the thing is, like, he is so fucking excited to be sitting there. And John is just, like...
Yeah,
it's an audio podcast, but yeah, it's just like it looks photoshopped. It looks like he's at a funeral.
He's done this so many times.
Yeah,
totally. And he's like 70 years old.
Yeah, so imagine being asked the same questions over. Like, what do you think about Rob Zombie's Halloween?
Yeah, and apparently he's like, no.
Yeah, I know.
No, yeah, I know.
Can you just imagine, but like 30 years of probably more of just grown men coming in like basking, and you're just like, I don't care about any of you.
I know. Did you ever see that old nerds. SNL skit with Captain Kirk at a Star Trek convention?
No.
Where he starts to like, guys, grow up.
Oh yeah,
You're fucking nerds. You have you kissed a girl? What's a girl? That's what I imagine what John Carpenter must feel when he does these like Comic Cons or horror movie cons.
Have you seen Cobra Kai yet?
Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
I know.
But that's even that reminds me of Johnny Lawrence, where he's just like teaching all these like degenerate kids like karate. It's just like, you guys, no wonder you guys get bullied, you fucking nerds.
Yeah.
Just, like that's how probably John Carpenter's like.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? God love him. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, exactly. I'm into abuse, so I'm okay with him being mean to me.
No, John, if you're hearing this, you can hurt me anytime.
You do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Cool, Boozy. I that's all I've seen. So let's quickly get out of the way. I know you've seen one other thing, but
I've seen a couple things.
Let's hear it. Let's get into it.
Okay, some of these aren't horror, but I'm just going to fire them off real quick. Since I've been on vacation, I saw 310 to Yuma. Never seen that before. Ben Foster is fantastic. Yep. Give him Christian more Bale. Roles. Yep. I started watching John Bernthal's Punisher TV show. I'm pretty much at the end of it, and I think that is a fantastic show. It took me a long time to actually watch it, but I finally did, and I really enjoyed it. I think John Bernthal is one of my favorite actors.
He's really good in that show. Yep. He's a perfect Punisher. And I've only gotten 3 episodes in because it bothered me as a person who works construction.
Oh God!
It drove me nuts watching him just hammer on a wall
like,
the whole time.
What is your job?
Yeah, well, I'm like,
they're building this fucking thing.
Yeah. He's just raging on a wall for like 30 minutes,
and it's just like, what's he even doing?
Yeah, but
there's no way someone's paying him for this.
Yeah, everybody else they're building a skyscraper or whatever, and he's fucking smashing a wall, and you're like, this is counterproductive.
Totally, and it's totally metaphorical, and it was just totally in your face and stuffing it down my throat. I'm like, I get it. He's breaking down walls.
Yeah,
like,
it's a really good show.
Okay, I've heard it gets really good. So
they definitely don't shy away from the violence in that. I also went and saw was that Monday? I went and saw the Solo Star Wars movie.
I still haven't seen it.
How is it?
It's a Star Wars movie.
Okay.
Don't you dare. That means it's great. Was it great?
No,
I've heard from 3 people that they actually really liked it.
It's a decent enough movie, but I didn't think it needed to be made. It's hard to care about a lot of characters when you go and look at overall the arc of Star Wars and go like, well, we'd never heard of or seen this character, we'd never heard of seen of this character. You know what I mean? It's when you do a prequel and there's only so many.
You know
things
that they're never going to play a big integral part in it.
Exactly. So how am I supposed to care about a character if it's like, well, who cares?
Lando's great.
Yeah, and then they throw in kind of at the end they throw in a big twist where you're like, ooh, cool. But overall, I don't give a shit.
I heard about the cameo.
Yeah, and
I haven't yet. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going this week because it is disgusting that I haven't seen the Star Wars movie yet. But that honestly, that shows how much of a problem it is.
Yeah, out of all of them that have come out so far, I think this one is for sure the weakest. I know a lot of people really hated Rogue One, but I at least cared for the characters in Rogue One, and I thought they told the clones.
Who hated Rogue One?
Lots of people.
There's
did not
a lot of people who didn't like Rogue One.
Really?
And I thought Rogue One was fantastic.
They're just wrong.
I think Rogue One's great too, and I think it's the second weakest of the new ones. It's not my favorite. That's what I should say.
And that's I can
yeah, and that's fine. But as far as spin-offs go,
Courtney's favorite.
And if they're actually are planning on doing, I think they talked about doing like a Boba Fett one next.
Yeah,
that I want.
I still think that Rogue One would be the best one because I don't need.
You do need Boba Fett. You need a Boba Fett side story because everyone loves him and they don't know why.
No, but if you give him a whole bunch of personality, look at all the original ones because he doesn't have that much personality overall in those. So you're gonna give this guy so much.
That's
personality.
Why it drives me nuts that people like claim Boba Fett is their favorite.
But do you get what I mean? Where you're gonna have this huge story and he's gonna be super cool, and then you're gonna go watch the other ones and go like, what happened to all his personality and being cool? He just dies.
I get it. What I mean by that is that in the world where we're getting a Solo, like a Han Solo spinoff, I think a Boba Fett one is much more understandable than a Han Solo spinoff. Like I feel like that makes a lot more sense to do a Boba Fett one than a Han Solo one. I didn't want this Han Solo movie.
I didn't either.
But I'm going to go see it this week.
Everyone did a competent job, and even the guy who played Han Solo, I thought he did a great job. It was just it wasn't necessary. None of it was necessary, and it did have some actual funny parts. But overall, you can't care about these characters because
how was Jar Jar Binks?
I got a story about Jar Jar. Have you seen the fan-made? There's a 10-minute movie of Boba Fett versus Darth Vader.
No.
Go online at some point. It's 10 minutes long, and it's this badass story. They did really well.
Is it recent?
It's a couple of years.
Okay, because someone shared something on my wall about there's a fan-made Star Wars movie.
Fucking
There's
nerds.
a lot of fan mates. Oh yeah, the Star Wars nerds are. There's many. There's plethora.
Okay, going on from that, I rewatched Paranormal Activity 3, which is my favorite of the whole series.
I dig that one as well.
That is a fantastic film, and I think a lot of people have problems with what would you call that? Found footage films, because a lot of times there's no reasons for them to have the camera rolling at certain points, and I think this movie did a good enough job of explaining why they had all the cameras set up for certain scenes, as opposed to just like, oh, whoops, I left the camera on.
I'd probably say that's my favorite of the paranormal movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you a fan of those ones?
I have a confession to make.
Let's hear it.
You haven't seen them?
Not so much.
Oh, no, that's fine. So you don't like them, or you just haven't seen them?
I like them. I think they were overhyped a little bit.
100%. But
the problem with the first one, I've seen only 3. And this is a familiar trope with the found footage movies, is you have to get around the fact that there's a camera on at all times. And you're always thinking, at some point, put the fucking camera down if you're running away from like the monster or ghost. But there's always, usually there's always one asshole character that you just want to die. Like, I was cheering for the demon or ghost in the Paranormal Activity to fuck up the husbands.
It's true, yeah.
So
the husband
hard.
was, yeah.
Clearly something is going on and you're still refusing to see it. So I was like totally on Team Ghost when things went down.
That's why I think I liked the second one a lot too, and that's one that a lot of people don't like as much, but I think I liked it because the husband was like, he seemed like a real dad to me. Like, I knew that guy, and like I totally kind of understood that character. But yeah, I got a soft spot for them. But I think
I think 3 for sure is my favorite. And there's such nice little touches, like when they there's the earthquake and they run out of the room, and then you see like the dust settling, and it settles on a figure that's been standing in the room the whole time. Like,
but the oscillating fan.
The oscillating fan is awesome.
The thing is that franchise is at its strongest when they're coming up with new ways of explaining how they're going to film it.
Well, even I can't remember which.
I'll give it that.
Yeah.
Which one was it? Where the Xbox, the Kinect?
That's 4, and that's fucking horrible.
I thought that was a cool idea, though.
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
But the whole body there from the Kinect.
That movie was next level shit.
The third one is that when the
it's in the 80s.
Yeah. Yes, that is.
The last 10 minutes are really good. I'll totally give it that. Yeah. That's when
I think out of all those movies, that one does the best of setting up, because Toby's a recurring character throughout the thing, and they set up so much with Toby that I really liked it. Other than that, I watched Hereditary.
Yes,
I went on Tuesday to see Hereditary.
I'm closing my ears.
Yeah, no spoilers, but I need to fucking hear about, because like this is one where, because Boozy and I, one of the things that I think makes our show successful in certain ways is that we disagree on a lot of things.
Yep.
But beautiful. Hereditary, in my opinion, I'm like, this one, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if Boozy's going to hate this, or if he's going to, because he loved Mother, and I wasn't expecting him to love Mother.
I haven't seen Mother yet either.
And
I'm behind.
I love it. My 2 guests last week both hate it. So like,
I listened to that episode, and they hated Killing of a Sacred Deer too.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, so you guys weren't smart enough to understand? I'm an asshole. But let's hear about it.
So me and Tyler went to the late night showing, and I got in not expecting the theater to be fucking packed, and it was packed.
Love it.
So behind me were 4 high schoolers, 2 girls, 2 guys. They were on a date, clearly, and they yapped the whole fucking time beforehand, and they were like, you know when you don't want to listen to somebody, but they're so close that you have to, and they're like, yeah, I go see a lot of scary movies. Do you go see a lot? Yeah, I went and saw the blah, blah, blah. I went and saw the Paranormal. That wasn't very scary, but what kind of... And I was just like, the whole time, I was just like, shut the fuck up. and then 2 rows in front of me, there was this section of people, and they just more of them kept coming, and they would actually bump other people. They're like, hey, can you guys move down? I got more people. There was like 12 of them by the end, and it just, they didn't show up all at one time.
The word's getting out.
So the movie starts, and they're talking through the commercials too, and like someone's on their phone way down, and like it's far enough away that I can't throw anything at them. Yeah. Because I will do that. I'll throw stuff at people.
They'll be burned.
Awesome.
So the movie starts, and within 10 minutes, silence. The whole movie, silence. Nobody says a fucking word.
That's amazing.
And that, I think, lends a lot to how tense and terrifying that movie is, that there's not anybody going like, oh, ha, ha, or anything. It made people sit, shut the fuck up, and watch this insane movie unravel, and that, I think, like, speaks so much to it, and it made me so happy, because the whole time I was worried, I'm like, these people are gonna ruin my experience for sure.
Yeah.
And they didn't, and everybody sat through there. The movie just, it kept going, and it was definitely one of those movies where, you know when like a movie lays out certain plot points where you're like, okay, they're near, 3/4 of the way done because they've hit this spot, but they haven't had something happen that'll wrap up the ending.
There's the conventional tropes of a horror
exactly.
movie that you expect. And
Yeah,
this movie
Hereditary
breaks
does
all
not.
of it.
I find Hereditary does not hit any of those things.
Whoa.
And I mean that in the best possible way.
The good guys win.
I mean that where this movie was feeding you this tale of a family, and you're totally engrossed in it, and there's no clear cut like, if someone does this then everything will be okay for everybody. It never lays that out. It shows a family dynamic, and then by the end you realize that throughout the movie it had sprinkled in all this small stuff that leads up to a much bigger picture. And I remember me and Tyler, once the movie got out, we didn't say a single word to each other until we got to my vehicle. So it was like a 5-minute walk of just silence. Got in, and I was like, I think I fucking loved it. And he's like, me too. And I think it's one of the best movies I've seen in, just to steal from Mitch, it's in like 2 or 3 years. Like, it's fucking insane.
That's what I said.
Okay, I'm going tonight.
It's
I can't take this anymore. I can't do it.
It's insane how good it is that it came out in theaters to a large audience, and that when I got home from watching it, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I immediately went onto YouTube and was looking up fan theories. And me and Tyler, the whole time driving home, he was like, well, why was this like this? And I was explaining it to him because of things I had picked up, and then he talked about things he had picked up, and there's so much in this movie where you need to watch it like 3 times, and then
it's horror movie magic. That movie's horror movie magic.
Oh, it is. I can't.
I'm sorry to be hyping it.
You know what? It's fine. It's my own fault. I haven't seen it yet.
But don't keep in mind that this is also like, I've had a week and a half to process this, and I'm freaking out now.
Yeah.
When I first left the movie, I was like, that was awesome. I'm never gonna watch it again. Never.
Yeah.
That was awesome. 2 hours later, me and Courtney were talking about. I'm like, we got to go tomorrow.
I know, yeah, and it's right away I was like, I want to go again.
It's miserable.
Yeah,
and then I listened
experience.
last week to you guys talk about it, and then you guys would say certain things. You're like, well, I don't really know what this means. And I was listening to it at work, and I'm like, I was texting Mitch while I was listening to it, and it was like he knew I was listening to it, but he obviously didn't. And I was like, you fuck, how do you not know this is this? This means this.
Oh, I've listened to the score, and god damn, it's good.
It's
how can
so unsettling.
Toni Collette, though.
Toni Collette is fucking brilliant, and whatever Wolf, I can't remember.
Alex Wolff.
Alex Wolff,
the kid.
yes.
Toni Collette's been good for a long time.
She has, but this is her career best.
Is it?
This is
the best
something else
she's ever been.
Because she's amazing in The Sixth Sense.
Yeah. Oh, she's
to me,
amazing.
she's the best
everything.
part in The Sixth Sense.
Totally. She's amazing in everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But this movie, it's like
it's something different. It's
this movie, like what I said on the last week. I was like, it blows my watching her. It blew my mind, being like, there's a script behind what she's saying.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is her. Like that's just who she is.
And I don't want to give. It's not a spoiler because it actually is in the trailer.
Okay.
But my favorite scene in the whole movie is Toni Collette hitting her head on the ceiling. Holy fuck.
Okay.
That's all you gotta get.
And it's not a spoiler because it's in the trailer, but
it's genuinely chilling.
It's chilling, it's upsetting. The whole last arc is just something else, and you're like, I can't believe this got made.
That's the other thing too, is that, and I stand by this, and I think we talked about, like, Jeff was saying he doesn't feel like it's a generational horror. I feel like it is. I feel like
that's what I've heard.
And when I see those scariest movies since The Exorcist, I go, fuck you. Like, fuck you. That's just a cheap ploy to get people to see something. I'm not going to say it's scarier than Exorcist, or if it is as good as The Exorcist.
I heard it's different.
It is, but all I'm saying is that I totally think it belongs in the camp with The Exorcist. I think that it deserves to sit there, whether it's better or not. It deserves to sit next to that movie.
I have a question for both of you then.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you had a gun to your head right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I hate these questions.
Okay, what would be the best horror film from this decade and the decade before? And keep in mind, we're at the tail end of
decade before. Can I do that first?
Yes.
The Descent.
Love you.
Yeah, The Descent is mine.
Oh fuck! You're putting me on the spot, and it hurts.
I'm mean, man. I'm a mean motherfucker.
And this decade, The Conjuring. I hate.
I love James Wan. He's
One.
so good. He's so good with background and foreground.
I think one, but
and how he fills the frame.
The reason I say that is because I feel like that's one that's most accessible. If I were to talk about favorites, I'd say like It Follows or Hereditary. Honestly, it falls in that.
Sorry,
it falls in that camp. For
I'm
me.
just
like,
having a seizure right now.
It's too early to say that, but
Okay.
I do think that Hereditary is going to be. We're going to be talking about this like we talked about It Follows.
Okay.
Hereditary has one jump scare. One. That's it.
Yeah.
The rest of the whole movie is scares that are earned by how it builds itself.
Yeah, the characters, the acting, it's disgusting.
I'm sorry, I'm jerking off right now. Okay.
Oh, he's not circumcised either.
Yeah.
Last decade is actually a movie we talked about a couple weeks ago or a couple episodes ago. It's not the best one, I think, but it's one that scared me the most. Was Session 9. Yep. I think overall in how it crafts that same sort of that atmosphere, it would be Session 9 because I haven't felt that way in a long time. Where I was sitting there and I was like, I'm very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And this one, I don't know. Like I want to say it comes at night, but Hereditary was 10 times scarier.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And it is fresh for me, but at the same time,
I didn't tell Boozy this because I don't know why I didn't. I think it's because I was so enticed with the idea of doing a Jeepers Creepers episode. But he suggested it comes at night.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. It's on my queue.
And that's Boozy's favorite movie of last year. Like,
is it?
Yeah.
I heard it's nothing but great.
A24 really can do no wrong.
Yeah.
For what they're A24, I can't even like associate with what other company has been putting out such quality over a long time, because I feel Blumhouse did put out a lot of great things, but they've also just put out volumes. So there's a lot of trash.
Well, the thing about Blumhouse is they're on the big scale spectrum. Yeah. So I feel like when they're putting out those ones that we don't love as much, it's so that they can make more money to put out the ones that we do love.
It's quantity for a lot of it.
I believe Get Out could also play in that category as well.
Yeah.
It just deserves to be there. One that I feel bad not mentioning though, like next to the Descent, is The Strangers.
Okay.
I feel like that's one, but but yeah, personally, like I love It Follows. Like I hold that one so near and dear to me, but I also know that that's not one I can recommend to everybody.
Okay.
Can I say my favorite? Because we're gonna ask you this question
of course.
too.
Okay.
But I just want to quickly. Have you seen The Guest?
Yes.
I love that movie.
Isn't that like a total 90s tribute?
Yes.
That movie
like
is crazy
Halloween
as
and Terminator.
Fuck.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like that's my favorite movie in years. Like,
good pull.
It's great.
Good pull.
Yeah.
Even like the opening font, it's like purple, and I'm like, I'm home.
I know. It's so good.
I forgot to. No, I know. I said like Hereditary, but like Train to Busan.
Train to Busan.
Isn't
was great
that?
as well.
I was late to the table for that one. Oh my god! I knew that I'm enjoying a horror film when I'm screaming at the screen, going, "No, you're not gonna die."
That for this decade is what like 28 weeks or 28 days later was for the previous decade. That is the transitional zombie movie of this decade.
This is the longest conversation we've had in a while.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's my fault.
I'm just worried about getting you home on time.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I'm home.
All right. Okay. All right.
We better move on.
There's a gun to your head.
Gun to my head.
Let's do last decade first, not this decade.
Okay. If I had to put a gun to my head, I would have to say The Mist.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Just not only is it a tribute to old horror movies at the begin with, and it opens with like a poster of The Thing, and he's painting the gunslinger from Dark Tower.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And even the tagline, "Fear changes people," is so true to the story he's telling. The villain, like the true villain in that piece, is Marcia Gay Harden.
Yes. And
she is so good. I can't believe she got overlooked. Yeah. Everyone is so good in that movie.
Oh, like the religious zealot?
Yeah.
She's the best anti-villain.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, she's a villain. I don't know, but I feel weird saying that.
No, like
she's a monster.
You hate her.
Yeah.
You hate her. That monologue she gives where she's talking, like she's praying and talking to, don't worry, God, they don't know any better and everything. Like you just want to grab her and slap her, and that whole monologue is just her. It suits her so well. It's just it's everything about that character. Even the people when she first walks into the grocery store and they sort of talk about her, you know a person like that.
Yeah.
That they're just
everyone's met that.
Yeah.
And even there was never a shining moment where you're like, oh, this could probably be a good person. Right from the first time you meet her, she's a piece of shit.
Yep. You want to hug her and say it's going to be okay,
yeah,
but
she's judgmental right off the bat.
Not real.
Yeah.
Shh. Satan's coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how about this decade?
Yeah. But then of course there's the ending.
Yeah, which is the best.
There are very few movies where the ending hits and you need a stiff fucking drink at the end.
Totally.
I think
and 3 packs of smokes.
Yeah, and then your big bowl of crack.
Yes, exactly.
And the music that accompanies that too.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect ending
It's
music.
It's from Baraka originally.
Yeah.
But no, it's great. There are very few movies where the movie ends and you are just like, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I think of the original Old Boy, Park Chan-wook. I think of Seven, where your testicles have just been kicked.
Yeah.
And then there's where he has to make that choice to kill his own son. Like,
you're watching him add do the math, and you're like, oh no,
that's the best ending ever. Like, it's the worst and the best.
Oh my god! Like, he wants to throw up and he can't kill himself.
Yeah.
And then he's expecting his death. Like, he steps out of the car and he's waiting for his doom, and the army shows up. Like,
and the one lady that was like, "Is no one gonna come with me?"
I know.
And she drives by staring at him.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Like, even now as a parent, I don't think I could make that choice. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could do it. Like, one of my worst fears is
the mist.
Well, losing my child.
Yeah.
That's something that makes The Brood so powerful for me now.
I love The Brood.
Oh, I love The Brood. But I don't know if I could do that choice. I don't know. It's such a kick in the balls that I felt physically nauseated. The Shawshank Redemption is about hope. This is about despair.
Yeah, totally.
Like, Frank Darabont is an angry, angry man. I love him for it. But it's about despair. And I think he's a manic depressive.
Yeah, totally.
I think you have to be in a certain kind of mindset to make that kind of film. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
You can't be like, hey, let's go see what's at the craft services table.
I have a tough time not picturing Frank Darabont sitting by his pool in the sun writing that ending and laughing his ass off, being like, this is gonna fuck so many people.
And he doesn't have enough bullets.
Yeah. This is gonna be therapy for somebody. Yeah. Oh God, that movie. It's so good. But
it's great.
Mist. Yeah.
Awesome. What about this decade? And yeah.
Okay.
2 guns to your head now.
Okay, 2 guns in my head. God. I feel like I'm gonna miss something.
We for sure will. We'll look back at this and go,
yeah,
what the fuck?
I don't know, man. Train to Busan really fucked me up. It Follows was so good. Gun to my head. I'm gonna probably have to say Train to Busan, not only because the zombie genre has been beaten to death, but at the same time, 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
No, but that's the previous decade.
Previous decade, you can't do it.
I'm gonna have to probably say Train to Busan.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Yeah,
it breathed life into the undead.
Yeah,
like that's like that literally was.
And isn't that crazy that while The Walking Dead has consistently going on for so long, that movie breathed life into the zombie genre?
Yeah. And I've been on that train too. Like I taught in South Korea, so
Really?
I've been on the bullet train to Busan. So and it's fast.
That's awesome.
Like you see the rice fields like zoom, zoom.
That's sweet, like Snowpiercer.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh, that's.
But I think it's because that movie's so much more of like a character film, than just a zombie film.
I was really upset when that one father in the halfway point took one for the team. He's holding them back and he's been bit. Like I was
I know,
Mr. Machismo.
Yeah,
that big motherfucker.
And the Koreans, I gotta tell you, South Korea, their film industry, they know how to make a fucking thriller and horror movie these days.
Totally.
There's a film called The Chaser. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, that's Adam McDonald's favorite movie.
That movie's a tough watch.
You've seen Backcountry?
Yes.
That's another one that we fucking just adore.
Yeah.
Here, and we had the director of the show on the Terror Table. Yeah, and he said his favorite movie is The Chaser.
Yep.
Yeah.
That one's okay.
That I Saw the Devil is also an incredible fucking movie.
Okay.
That's not his, but I love that movie.
The Devils, is that the Ken Russell one or?
No, I Saw the Devil.
I Saw the Devil. Yes, I've seen that. Yeah.
That's a great movie.
Yes.
Cool. We should take a break.
Sorry.
Do you want to do some news, or should we skip news this week?
No, do the news.
Okay,
we can do it quick.
All right, we'll be right back. Hit me with the motherfucking news, Booze.
I don't have a voice this week.
No, this is the first
This
time.
is the end.
I was just supposed to say, what racist, sexist shit is Boozy going to say right now?
I have
That's
nothing.
worse. This is worse.
I'm sorry. It's so hard to.
My name is
This will be disappointing, Boozy. That's
Okay.
my character. Fede Alvarez has promised that he will direct Evil Dead 2 if Uruguay wins the World Cup.
Go Uruguay.
Go
Soccer.
Uruguay.
I fucking
Go
hate soccer.
Uruguay.
Go
I
Uruguay.
So do I. I love how Jeff was dissing soccer and then immediately talks about golf. I'm like, you white bastard.
Yeah, that's white privilege in a nutshell.
But Tiger's not having a great day.
White privilege.
Telltale Games is reportedly working on a Stranger Things video game.
It's about time if they're going to do
Okay.
those games.
Okay.
You know, if anyone can do it, I think Telltale, it's fine enough.
I'm
they
just
basically-
surprised it's taken this long because they jumped on The Walking Dead so quick.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I can't see them doing anything other than how a Telltale would do their games. Like any other company trying to do, what else are you
Yeah.
going to do with that series?
Yeah.
I also want to apologize to my wife. Obviously, you guys are gamers.
Yes,
Literally,
kind of.
Yes.
I have a small addiction with the Friday the 13th video game, and I'm sorry, honey, and Maya, that sometimes Daddy goes down and has to kill counselors.
I'm gonna add you on PSN and I'm gonna start playing. again this
How's the
week.
community for it? Is it so strong?
It's still pretty strong.
Yeah.
It's really it's kind of weird when you're playing games with kids that are way too young to be there.
Yeah.
And they're like totally being dicks. Like they're so angry when, like, 'cause as I'm Jason, I will plant traps along the cars in the phone booth, and they get so angry. He's like, "Why you fucker? Why you doing it?" Because I'm Jason, dick.
We finally got the trailer for Corn Hardy's The Nun. Came out recently.
All I'm gonna say, because you know that I'm one of the guys who buys into this
Yep.
shit. I'm the target audience, and I'm gonna be honest about it. Is that I think that the setting looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that trailer was whack as fuck.
Yes.
Like it is fucking lame.
Yes.
You know, and I'm not huge in
Wait
that.
until the end. Did you see that?
Yeah.
The PSA is just like, you're showing us a scare that's in The Exorcist 3 that came out 40 years ago.
I know.
It's an Exorcist 3 scare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good pull.
With the scissors, like, it's just like, yeah, no, I knew that was going to happen. You're not surprising me. But I'm rooting for Corin Hardy because he's the director behind The Hollow.
Exactly.
Which
That's
great.
so good.
Yeah, it's great.
That's why I was so excited about it. And then seeing the trailer, I'm like, this could have been anybody directing this. I don't feel any Corn Hardy in that trailer.
I like that setting, though. I love that
Yeah.
setting of, like, the old castle, like Bram Stoker's Dracula. Even, like, I love that setting. So
I also have a secret crush on is it Farmina? What's her name?
Vera Farmiga is the older one in Conjuring, and
Yeah.
then this is her Tessa Farmiga. She's the
Tessa
little
Farmiga.
sister.
Yeah, she's easy on the eyes.
Yeah, and she looks exactly. That's what's kind of cool too is that Vera Farmiga plays Elaine Warren.
Yes.
Or Lorraine Warren from it's been a while. She's in The Conjuring, but yeah, and it's in the same Conjuring universe, and her sister, who's 20 years younger than her, is playing one of the nuns. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna see it regardless. Opening night.
I'm going to because I'm really excited for Corn Hardy to be doing stuff.
Me too. But that trailer is a fucking letdown.
Yeah.
Like, it was lame, I thought.
Yeah. By the way, honey, I still love you, and you're the only woman for me.
Jordan Peele really wants to do a Gargoyles movie.
I've been asking for this for the that's the thing. When they announced Transformers, I was like 16 years old, and I was just like, fuck Transformers, give me a Gargoyles movie. And like finally someone but can you imagine Jordan Peele behind that? It'd be so good.
Yeah.
Have you guys
Bring back Keith David?
Have you guys recently watched like the Gargoyles TV show?
I don't
though?
give a fuck.
I
believe it doesn't age well. I don't.
It doesn't.
The characters are cool. I had a Goliath piggy bank where every time I put a quarter in it, I swear to God to you that I haven't seen the show since I was 8 years old.
My brother and I used to watch that show all the time.
You put in monsters are among us. We are not monsters. we are gargoyles.
Gargoyles.
No.
Oh my God.
Like, I remember, I haven't seen that thing. It was a piggy bank, and it was like Robert. Fuck, it was awesome.
You
I
guys
love
are such
gargoyles.
nerds. I love it.
Yeah, I love gargoyles.
At E3, Resident Evil 2 has a remake.
I love that.
Yep.
That's my favorite of the Resident Evil games.
Yeah, it's a good one.
The crocodile one. And they're apparently doing the Resident Evil 4 style with like camera over the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They completely redid. It's got the same story, but they completely redid everything.
So I'm going to jack off everywhere.
I love 5, actually. 5 I liked a lot of.
The Resident Evil 5?
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I love 5 too. 4 and 5 were great.
Yeah.
6 was a bit of a letdown. The new one, it's too scary.
Is it really?
It's too fucking much.
Yeah, it is.
When we actually just started the podcast, and Diego bought a VR.
Okay.
And he bought Resident Evil, and we played it in VR.
I saw the video of you playing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it was too much.
Really?
It's fucking horrifying.
Okay.
It's like being in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
And it's no.
I might be one of the only people who wants this, but I really want them to remake Nemesis. Nemesis was always my
was good.
favorite.
I like Nemesis as
Yeah,
well.
I think
Okay.
that one is my
Yeah,
favorite.
Nemesis was cool, but 2 was just like legendary for me.
We also got a ton of gameplay showing The Last of Us 2, which
I
looks...
still haven't seen any of it.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I love
they,
the first
at
one.
the start, they have a little cinematic, and it looks incredible. Like, you don't see that kind of... Even for where we are now with video games and stuff, you don't see, like, something look that good very often.
The clickers are really good.
The whole and the crazy part is that they showed this gameplay footage and they didn't show any of the infected at all.
Really?
It was just
Have you seen The Girl with All the Gifts?
No.
You should check that. It's on Netflix too. It's another zombie movie that reinvents the genre in a sense.
Okay.
It's really good.
Those
it's
are bold words.
Yeah,
but okay.
no, it's a very good movie. But I feel like they drew some heavy influence from The Last of Us.
Okay.
But it's based on a book too. But I think you'd really like it. It was the same year as Train to Busan.
that's a fantastic film as well.
It was really good. Yeah.
James Wan is producing a remake of Arachnophobia, and I'm super excited.
Yay!
But
we
also
haven't had a fucking big spider movie in a while.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm in.
Funny story. Like my mom and I used to go to movies all the time, and she would choose one, and she would choose like Remains of the Day, and then I would choose like Natural Born Killers, just to fuck her up. And so I convinced her to go see Arachnophobia, and she hates spiders. But the halfway point, she goes, "I disown you as a son."
That's awesome.
And you haven't seen her since.
Mom, if you're out there, I love you.
Yeah, just leaves you at the theater.
Yeah, she just left.
Legal claims have kind of ruined Friday the 13th, the game, for now.
That's where Lee can talk about this. You know about this somewhat.
Okay,
hey?
Victor Miller is the original screenwriter for Friday the 13th, and I get it. Apparently, California made a law that by 2017, they could all the existing contracts can be renegotiated. Mm-hmm. And as you know, the Friday the 13th series has made a shitload of money from like t-shirts,
That's putting it lightly.
movies, games,
Likeness.
yeah. And so instead of making $8,000, he wants his due cut. Now I love Sean S. Cunningham, but he didn't have to sue him, saying that's the existing contract. Like, give the man, like, you've got more money than third world country.
Yeah.
Just give him.
Pretty much trademarked the hockey mask.
Yeah. Like, just give him a small bit. He's a writer. He deserves credit.
Yeah.
And because of it, they can't add new content. So the spaceship, Uber Jason, they're going to have the character in the wheelchair at some point.
Yes.
I don't even know how you'd get that guy in the car, but I want to see it.
There's like a tow rope, and he just attaches to the
From-
back.
Yeah,
like
no,
the
he's
guy
behind
from-
the car going, ah!
From part 4?
Yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love that.
I want it so much. So please get this out of the courts.
Just settle it out of court, give him a large sum of money, and
Yeah.
tell him leave it alone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's white greed.
we want new content. Please, Victor Miller.
And I would love Uber Jason.
Yeah.
Even though I know that I know people don't like Jason X. I don't like it either. But also one of the best kills in the Friday the 13th franchise is in that movie. So
Yeah,
let's
the
give it
Cronenberg
credit there.
kills. I like the
And the ice one.
Yeah, the freezing one. Yeah.
The freezer freeze. And same with the sleeping bag.
Yes,
It's great.
That whole scene is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
We like premarital sex.
Going on from that, we talked about Hereditary already. You guys covered it last week. It's getting really bad reviews overall in the public eye.
It's got a D cinema score.
Yeah,
People are.
It's insane that someone.
Okay, and I don't mean to make this political, but let's think about this for a second. The critics are giving it very positive reviews. The general audiences aren't. let's talk about what the general audiences are also okay with. Nickelback is one of the biggest bands on earth. No, but seriously, like that's like
Sorry.
so like when people are like, "Oh, it must not be that good." It's like, no, if we're gonna go that route, you got to think about Nickelback is really popular. Donald Trump won the presidential election because people voted for him. This shows that people when you're thinking about cinema scores, think about Nickelback and Trump.
And that
Mother got an F- cinema score.
And somehow all the marketing for Skyscraper.
I
The
know.
fact that movie came out, the
Dwayne The Rock Johnson with a fucking robot leg.
It's
Yeah.
Die Hard redone.
and
Yeah,
they've also
even
given
though-
away every time he's been in danger, his leg will save him. They gave away the whole fucking movie. It looks terrible. I
Yeah,
can't
it's
believe.
awful.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Hey, he's trying to get the whole remake for Big Trouble in Little China, eh?
Yeah, and of course I'm against it,
Yeah.
but there's a chance it could be all right.
There's always that
Because
possibility.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson is a saint. Like, as much as I don't love the movies that he comes out with, he's a good human being. He is genuinely funny, but he also needs someone else to be funny for him.
Yeah.
Or else he fails. Look at Baywatch. And that's two
Yep.
people: Zac Efron and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Two funny people. If they're with other people who are funny together, they drown.
Unpopular opinion in the horror community. I kind of like the new Jumanji.
I haven't seen it yet,
It's-
and I've heard it's pretty funny.
It's very funny. It's imagine the most dangerous game with video games, and yeah, my wife's also a big Kevin Hart fan, and him and Jack Black are very funny in it.
I love Karen Gillan.
Yeah,
I love her. She is bae.
She's so good as Nebula, and I'm psyched
Yeah.
for the next Avengers because she's gonna have a main.
Are
part.
you an Avengers guy too?
Of course.
Yes, we're gonna bring him back with Diego.
Of course.
Me and Diego are. Boozy hates Marvel movies, but we'll.
Really?
I
Yeah.
hate superhero
We
movies.
can't get
Doctor
into-
Strange?
All of it. Just
Yeah, he doesn't like it.
None
love
of
Doctor
it.
Strange too.
I don't understand.
I know
D-
he's
I don't
missing
want
out.
it.
He's missing
Don't
out.
want it. Don't
He's
need it.
missing out. But Infinity War is so
Black-
fucking good.
Black Panther?
He won't watch it.
No.
He
Dude.
hates black people.
Don't say that. Jesus Christ.
Do you know there's someone's gonna spray paint racist on his car later
Oh my
today?
God.
Well, that's Get Out wasn't in his top 10, so he dubbed him as a racist.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, yes, because you're an evil. You're part of the white
White-
patriarch. I get it. White
Are we
privilege.
gonna
I
call
love
this episode
golf.
White Privilege?
you like cornbread, white cake.
The only way we can make a Jeepers Creepers episode more contriversial is if we call it white
Oh my
privilege.
God.
Oh, don't you mean the pathology of blaming a race of people with a collective crime? When didn't they try that with Jewish people? The whole Holocaust thing.
We're
Holocaust
going
was-
on from this.
Sorry.
We're not fucking talking about this.
Holocaust was
Sorry.
right. Oh my God.
I'm gonna go to hell now.
Both of you. They showed a mega predator in the latest Predator
We
trailer.
talked about this last week. and
Did
it
you
was
guys?
Awesome.
Black Shane Black.
Yes, Shane Black. Oh, it's so good.
Anytime that you have any doubt, go rewatch The Last Boy Scout, and the amount of put downs in that movie are legendary. I'm getting beaten up by the creator of Scrabble.
Yeah.
Love it, Shane Black.
I'm stoked for the new Predator.
So much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. First trailer wasn't so great. The next one I thought was really good.
And they
Yes.
used a Bob Dylan song as the song in the second trailer.
I love the first trailer, and I like the second trailer even more.
Yeah.
First trailer was like a semi-chub. The second trailer was like, hey, I'm going to fucking pop.
Full blown
Yeah, I
erection.
was like, I'm about to, in the words of Boozy, I'm about to shoot rope.
Oh yeah, I forgot you guys answered my question.
That I still haven't told you in person, but that was the hardest I've ever laughed on the entire table. I was literally crying.
Okay, sorry. I'm bossy, as Larry has said, and I'm sorry, Larry. You know that he's listening to this and you're going, he's their problem.
Yeah.
You've obviously seen the new Halloween trailer.
Yes,
Yes.
and we talked about it last
I
week,
know.
but I want to hear what both of you guys think.
You mean the trailer that I've jacked off to 2017?
Yes. It's what
I-
you want. We were talking about this before. Sorry to
Yeah.
cut you off, but
No.
we
I did the same thing. I'm sorry.
We were talking about Star Wars and how like The Force Awakens was more of the same, and after there's so many years of us getting what we didn't want.
Yeah.
It's good to go back to safe ground for a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like this is like The Force Awakens of the Halloween movies.
I want to track Jason Blum down and give him a great big hug.
I know I want to suck his dick.
No, I want to get behind him.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say about the new Halloween movie. Of course, the trailer is amazing balls. Like the teeth thing is awesome.
Do you think that was Michael?
I do. I heard your theory. It's
Yeah.
a very interesting theory.
Yeah.
But about the 27th time that I saw this, I got this overwhelming feeling. There's this new trait in movies right now with these forget sequels, as I call them, because they're totally forgetting any of the series, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. But it happened with the Friday the 13th remake, which I do like.
Yeah, I like it as well.
It's like the greatest hits all put in one movie. And I kind of got this feeling with the Halloween movie, because we get the scene of the inmates in the middle of the road, which is straight from Halloween.
Yeah.
We get the person in the white sheet, which is straight from Halloween. We get, Halloween, one of the things that works so much is these long, wide, panoscopic shots of Michael way in the background, which is creepy. And they had that reverse shot where Michael's in the house and Laurie Strode is looking up. And also, we've also seen Laurie Strode as this badass revenger from H2O. Yeah. So I'm going to go in with tethered expectations.
Yeah.
Because we've seen everything before. And if it sucks, I won't be disappointed. If they make Michael terrifying, which I think they did, then it's going to be successful.
Yeah.
I have too much expectations.
Yeah.
That if this becomes a resurrection,
it won't.
I'm going to be upset.
Yeah.
I'm going in with tethered expectations.
I think if anything, where it's going to fail, if it fails, is it's going to be too close to the original. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that. I love that movie.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with them paying homage to it. But obviously I want a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's where it's going to fail if it's going to. Yeah. But also, it's 6 months away.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a long tracking shot, which is also notorious with the Halloween films, where Michael goes from house to house killing people.
I just like the idea. I like what I'm picturing all these convicts escape, and there's going to be murders everywhere.
Yeah.
And Michael's just going to be sprinkled into the center of it all.
Yeah.
Like they're going to show this is a psychopath. This is a psychopath. This is a psychopath. They're doing random killings. But then there's Michael, who's just like, this is just fucking evil.
Yeah.
This is just a guy who's just taking fuckers out.
Yeah.
And that's all I want. And this is the only thing that I want from this movie, is I want a fucking proper ending for Laurie Strode. I want Laurie Strode to fucking take her balls back. And I know that's controversial because some people think she was born with balls, but do you know about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
It's okay, but I caught it.
But no, I just want Laurie Strode to kick ass. That's all I want.
It should have ended with H2O.
Yeah.
No?
This is going to be so long.
Okay, sorry, Boozy, I've
loved H2O for many, many, many years, and upon rewatch last year, it's fallen in my books.
Okay.
Just because of Michael alone. Michael's 5'4" in that movie.
Okay.
And he walks he's like a synchronized dancer. Like when he goes this is how he moves. Actually.
He jives.
And I'm and I loved that movie growing up, but I'm just man, Michael's this guy is just being told, you're evil, go. And that's what he's doing. Whereas The Shape, he just is his arms don't move, he just walks. He just moves. Love it.
I saw that in the theater, and when she grabs that axe, just the beginning of the third act,
still badass.
Michael, oh my god.
Oh man, there's so many. That movie scared the living fuck out of me when I was a kid. H2O.
Yeah.
But
I still think that they showed too much of Michael, and that's really a big problem I had with the trailer. Is I want him to appear. I don't want him. I
feel like they needed to. Though.
I know. No, I understand that, but I don't want to see too much of him, and I never want to see a full on of his face. Which it looks like they're getting
the Rob Zombie ones.
I do.
And they show his entire face,
actually. At the end.
Oh, number 2.
At the end, yeah. But, they go through so much of it not seeing his face, which makes it even more terrifying, because there's something where, the human mind tries to find faces within that, and that's a big part of it. And I don't want to see a ton of Michael walking around in the daytime. I like that he lurks.
But in the original Halloween, he's literally in a store in the middle of the day picking out a mask.
I know.
But
I just like the second one where he's literally walking downtown Haddonfield and no one questions a thing.
It's so campy and fun.
Yeah, but you have to look at the times we're in now where I know they're going off those original ones, but you can shift the perspective a little bit. And what is this? This is the 4th time that their timeline has been changed in this.
Yeah. They've successfully beaten out X-Men in timeline.
Yep.
Yeah.
Into timelines Oh man, and this is a totally unpopular opinion, but I think the Michael in Curse of Michael Myers is awesome. Like I think just him in that, because you can't see his eyes at all.
Okay.
Like I like the blackness.
Yeah.
That's all I want is I just want a black, bleak, mean motherfucker.
Have you seen the producer's cut?
Yes, I've seen them all. And
isn't it so much better?
Yes, yeah, they are. They like I like that movie. Like
I do. The ending of the theatrical cut is just
the ending's the worst. There's no way that there's no defending the ending of that. Like where they just tie up Loomis. Like it's bullshit. It's terrible.
I know the criticism that he impregnates the nieces doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Totally.
But still, I just have this vision of Michael having sex with this woman and does that like face tilt.
Yeah.
When he finally comes, that I just.
Oh God!
Sorry. Did I say too much?
No. You guys want to get on the main feature though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Sorry,
right.
Boozy.
Well, we'll be right back with our main feature presentation on Jeepers Creepers. All right, everyone, and welcome to our main feature presentation on Jeepers Creepers, which was released in 2001. Jeepers Creepers was directed by Victor Salva and written by Victor Salva. And we'll get into that conversation. Like I know that we said at the beginning of the episode that we need that, like, it needs to be talked about the whole story that's behind this movie and why people have turned on it, and rightfully so or not rightfully so.
And why, I guess, kind of the history of even the third one that recently came out. And
yes.
How little it came out, I guess.
Yeah, and but yeah, so Jeepers Creepers, obviously, this is a hot button subject among the horror community, and that's why I personally feel like when Lee had mentioned it, I was like, that would actually make for a really good episode, and there's a lot to be said there, and I think that I think it would be wrong for us to completely not acknowledge its existence, especially when Boozy and I specifically have stated that Jeepers Creepers plays a huge part in our horror upbringing. And that's a main reason why I want to talk about it today, is because regardless of what has happened around this movie, when I was 11 years old and I saw this movie, this is one of the movies that turned me into the person that I am today, and the reason why I have a podcast dedicated to horror movies. And I'm not giving that credit to Victor Salva. I'm giving that credit to what I experienced as an 11-year-old boy, and how we'll get into the discussion of separating the art from the artist, because I think that that's a really good conversation to have, and one that we've kind of sprinkled on, like we've touched on a little bit, but we've never fully delved into. And I want to use that opportunity to do that today. Before we get going on this, I just want to point out that Boozy's going to have to take off a little bit earlier than usual, so it will eventually just be me and Lee, but we're going to start with
fight
Boozy.
too much.
I love it.
Yeah, we're gonna talk to Boozy, and then we'll do our best here. But the story of Jeepers Creepers is a brother and a sister are driving home through isolated countryside for spring break. For a spring break, encounter a flesh-eating creature which is in the midst of ritualistic eating spree. That's IMDb who said that, so that's not me sounding like an idiot. But all right, let's get into it. So Boozy, what's your, like, I know you have a background with Jeepers Creepers, something.
Yeah.
There's a reason why this movie kind of is sort of near and dear to you.
Yeah, and that's hard to say when you like a movie so much, and then you
also I'm just gonna say this to save you and to save all of us, like to make people understand. We did not know about any of this when we saw this.
Yeah, I watched this when I was like 10.
Yeah,
like,
I was 11.
had no fucking idea.
Yeah, so let's go back to the time when little Boozy was 10 years old and seeing Jeepers Creepers, a new horror movie, for the first time.
Back in time. Yeah, I think I'd found it at like a video store, because my parents were like so good about just whatever. They'd be like, go ahead, pick whatever from Rogers Video, because we lived really close to Rogers. So just be like, go whatever. And I don't know how. I usually just went by covers. Like, that's how I found Dog Soldiers, was just like, oh, that is a cool cover, and I rented it. But yeah, I rented that, and just like right from seeing the creeper for the first time. And I especially remember, out of this entire movie, the scariest part for me is one of my grandmas used to live on a farm, and I would go spend like every weekend. I was usually out there every weekend or every second weekend, and she was my grandma was kind of a fucking weirdo when there's a ton of animals out there, and like the cat lady.
She was the cat lady?
She was the cat lady. And like I remember I watched
sucks.
it one time and I had to actually call her after to make sure she was okay. I'm not joking. I have no fucking idea. I was so upset. And I was just like, because she totally reminded me of that, of just like this like she's a very offstandish lady, and that was like, she was the cat lady. And yeah, that the creeper, just everything about him scared the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, like I remember having like nightmares about it all the time, and my parents gave me shit for renting like such a scary movie if I was going to be that scared. You know, they were getting
story,
yeah, they were getting ready to like pull the plug on me being able to pick stuff. I'm like, no. And like, yeah, like I remember I rented a scary movie because I thought it was going to be a horror.
Yeah.
I watched the movie when I was too young, and I did not get any of the jokes.
Whoops.
When my parents announced that they were having a divorce, gonna bring that up.
Yep.
They're like, what do you want to do for your birthday? This was while they were still living together, and they had to like save face to like, because they had kids. I wanted to go see Scary Movie. That was my first pick. So I saw Scary Movie before, but this was like right after the divorce was when Jeepers Creepers came in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it actually, because that's the thing, man, is like that. I know that this is a movie. You got to keep in mind that I'm 27 years old now. I turned 28 in a month, and like, so I'm probably younger than a lot of people who choose to listen to this, and people who've grown up watching horror movies. I discovered movies like The Shining and all that stuff later. I discovered my love for horror through Scream, because Scream introduced me to all these other movies.
Yeah.
Jeepers Creepers was just a movie that I watched when I was sick one day, and it fucking ruined me. And I had never been that scared in my life until this day. There has never been a time in my life where a movie has affected me the way that Jeepers Creepers did. And I know that a lot of people kind of laughed this movie off. Even before the Victor Salva thing came out, people were just like, really? That scared you? It's like, yeah, horror's subjective. Everything scares, like something scares everything. Everyone gets scared by different things.
Yeah, and it was so much different from, since we're such close in age. Like we watched a ton of the same movies. Like you and I were both like ruined by Jaws and stuff.
Yeah,
but I remember like, yeah, when the Scream Network was still a thing. Like I'd always like I'd record every single thing. So I remember when they did like a big marathon of like all the Halloweens, all the Friday the 13th. Like I recorded those all on VHS and watched those back. Now, if you consistently are just getting into horror and you're watching stuff like that, then to watch Jeepers Creepers, which is not a typical movie whatsoever. It's like a monster movie, but it's also kind of feels like a slasher at times.
It feels weird, hey, because it feels like its time was in the 80s. Like this is it was like at the time a new age monster movie.
Yeah, its DNA is so much different from, you're expecting the same kind of scares and you're getting these completely different ones. Yeah. And it's fucking terrifying, especially you're watching gradually throughout the movie, is that the creeper he like evolves with all these situations, and you're not expecting that when you're that young and coming from a background of, you know, like the unstoppable killing machines that are Jason or Michael. This is such a different shift.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I keep on calling Larry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lee, why did you choose Jeepers Creepers today?
Well, first and foremost, I think it is a very scary movie.
Yes.
I love the fact that it takes the time to spend time with its characters.
Yeah.
Like the first 5 minutes, it's very authentic, the relationship between the two actors. I got a Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe actually at the beginning of the movie. And I've always loved horror movies that take place on a highway. We live in Saskatchewan.
This movie feels like Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's in Florida. It feels like Saskatchewan.
Yeah. There's lots of things that can go wrong on a Saskatchewan highway. So I
all the dilapidated housing and stuff. 'Cause if anyone who knows about
prairies.
Saskatchewan is highway, and then you're going to see a ton of abandoned houses.
Yeah.
That's just...
This movie felt very Saskatchewan.
I love the creeper's black sense of humor, like his license plate be eating you.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Also, with something like that, how the fuck did he get a license plate like that?
How the fuck did he know how to drive?
Exactly.
How did he get a car? I think the license plate thing is the most weird thing, because like he'd have to go to like a DMV.
Yeah. So that's can you imagine him walking up going?
And that's what we'll touch on this. It's a shame that you're not going to be able to be here for the whole thing, but I just want to mention that like we can talk about this movie how we saw it when we were children and how it terrified us, but now as adults, it's like you realize how flawed this movie
Well,
is.
because you're
But
fed
also,
everything as a kid, and you just go like, okay, because I want to see the story progress. And now as an adult,
this monster has the most personality out of any monster in any movie ever. He drives. He's got a custom license plate.
he's got a theme song.
Yeah, he listens to music that directly pertains to him. He wears a trench coat. He like decides who he wants to be like eat and who he doesn't.
Yeah.
I kind of think that he's got like the Ride of the Valkyries playing in his truck. Dun da da dun.
Yeah,
Dun da da
totally.
dun dun.
Yeah.
No, it's a, you know, no matter what you think of Victor Salva, he made a tight, well structured, great monster movies, and they're becoming few. Yeah, they're becoming few and far between. Larry and I were talking about this recently, like this last decade. Like with the 70s and 80s, we had Aliens and Jaws and Halloween and the Body Snatchers movies. The past couple decades, I don't know if you've got as many. Like, you had the Saw franchise. I was kind of hoping that Jeepers Creepers would be one of those next, you know, monsters that you can speak, like Chucky or Jason or Pinhead.
The iconic state.
Yeah.
He's designed in the sense of a Freddy Krueger and this movie, the one that if I were to make a double feature pair, I'd pair with Pumpkinhead.
Yep.
Like I think
pull.
And also Lance Henriksen was supposed to play the Creeper, which is
nice.
Really?
Yeah. Can you imagine that? Like, because here's
I
the thing.
totally can.
I think Breck. I think his name Breck.
Yeah,
not Breckenmeyer.
No,
Jonathan Breck.
Jonathan
Breck. Yeah, he plays the Creeper in the movie, and I feel like he fucking kills it in this. And before you go, Boozy, and like before we delve any deeper in this, is what I would like to get across before we really delve into the movie, is the idea of separating the art from the artist. Yes, okay. So the story behind this is that Victor Salva, when he was working on Clown House
in 1988, I believe.
Yeah. He molested an 11-year-old while he was filming it, and the 11-year-old's name was Nathan Forrest Winters.
Oh, you said the name? Okay.
Yeah, Nathan Forrest Winters is who he molested. He groomed Nathan and his parents. Like, he developed their trust. This man is a monster. He is a piece of filth. And
there's more to that too.
Yeah, well, he filmed the whole thing.
He had a wide collection of child pornography at his home.
He is a piece of garbage, and there's no going around it. And here's the thing: a lot of people make the argument where he's mentally ill. He served his time. He should be able to do what he wants.
He didn't even serve a full sentence.
I don't know. He was sentenced to 3 years. I physically know guys who have sold pot and spent more time in prison than that. And
that's a whole different conversation I could talk to you about an hour.
No, I know, but I'm just saying he ended up serving 15 months. The man wore a smile on his face when he was convicted and like took his mugshot. He's smiling in his mugshot, and he goes as far as to make jokes about jokes about pedophilia in Jeepers Creepers 3 when he was given another chance to make him
and 2.
And 2 is centered entirely around shirtless boys.
Yeah,
it's uncomfortable.
I didn't know about the Victor Salva thing till you actually told me last year, because I don't know, like that. It just never came up for me. I was like, oh, he did what? And then, after watching 2 again, you're like, oh, he should not have been like around any of these people.
No, but here's the thing: it's an industry problem and not just a director problem. It's an industry problem because he was given this role even after he had been out of prison for 3 years, and he was given the job for Powder, which was produced by Disney.
And they knew about it.
Yeah, and they all knew about it. And then that's the other thing is here's the thing. I think that Jeepers Creepers plays a huge role in my upbringing. I owe a lot to it. I think that it's still a pretty great horror movie. I own both of the Scream Factory editions of Jeepers Creepers 1 and Jeepers Creepers 2. I know a lot of people bastardize that. Here's the thing. More people worked on this movie than him. Yes. There's so many more people around this. But the other problem the other debate that raises is even there's a commentary on Jeepers Creepers 1 with Gina Phillips, I think her name is, Gina Phillips and Justin Long. Yeah. Who this was taken... The commentary was recorded like 5 years ago. Yeah. So they even knew when they signed on for this movie.
Everybody knew when they signed on.
Everyone knew, and that's the problem. But also, they're groomed in their own way to think that they should trust the people who are producing these movies. They're the people who are behind these movies. Francis Ford Coppola was one of Victor Salva's best friends. This is the guy who directed The Godfather.
Well, Coppola helped with getting him.
Coppola this movie was originally going to go to Sony. Yeah. Coppola got it to MGM because it was going to be a completely different movie if they did it through Sony. Coppola believed in Victor Salva. He was friends with him. And he was just like, they wanted the Creeper to talk and be like Freddy and all that stuff. he took all that out and got him to MGM, and he let him make his movie that he wanted to make. So there is a problem, but the thing is, it's 2018, and we know that that's no secret anymore. It's no secret that there's an issue in the entertainment business. It's just, I think at the time, this was prior to internet era. Even like people weren't as privy to it. Like I had no fucking idea.
How would you know unless it said it on the box when you rented it?
Yeah,
like
you had no
from
idea.
a child predator is
yeah. But the thing is, and then my only problem is that I do feel like Jeepers Creepers 3 shouldn't have been made. I think that he shouldn't have been allowed to make that movie, because I think that if they were going to make a Jeepers Creepers 3, they take Victor Salva completely out of the equation, is how I personally feel.
Why wouldn't they do the same for 2 then?
Because even at the time of 2, it wasn't as...
It was already out. It was already out in the news, because I remember when Powder came out.
Yeah, see, I was negative. I didn't know about any of those.
Oh, no, it was well known, because I remember when Powder first came out, there were... The victim, I'm surprised you said the name. The victim itself was protesting with other people.
Rightfully so.
The premiere of Powder. And the movie tanked because of it. Well, it tanked for numerous reasons. So Victor Salva was already, rightfully so, in the public ether as a person who had done some horrible, horrible things.
Yeah.
Here's a question I have for you, though, because I think it is important to separate the art. There's 2 questions, actually. What are your thoughts on rehabilitation? Do you think people deserve a second chance?
That's tough when it comes to this.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, like, that's the other thing is people, the argument that a lot of people make is a crime is a crime.
Yeah.
Like, so they, just because this is a separate crime, obviously he is mentally sick, but the thing is, I feel like if he actually cared and realized how much trauma he put a person through, he wouldn't put himself in that situation again. I feel like he would have found a different way of going about his life than to notoriously put himself in those situations over and over and over again.
He's also a victim of sexual abuse.
Yes, he was.
Yep.
Yeah, like, because he was...
I know that's no excuse.
Yeah, he was abused by his father, but the thing is, that's the point, is that you just... for me, it's just, it blows my mind that he was able to... I feel like there's a one strike you're out rule when it comes to abusing your power in that point. And that's just my personal feelings, and I'm also not against hearing people say... Do you want to say bye, Boozy?
Oh,
Boozy's got to leave.
I gotta go.
Bye, Boozy. It's been an honor, sir, by the way.
It was very nice. Sorry, I just took my headphones off. I have to go. It was very nice meeting you, and I hope to hear the rest of your guys' conversation. Okay. And I'm sorry I couldn't be here to take it in and
we're going to
express
delve into this big time.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
Good. Perfect. All right. Well,
it was a pleasure meeting you.
I will see you guys next week. I look forward to eventually being on Rank and Review. Maybe you'll even be there.
I hope so. But I will make sure that Larry gets on it.
Perfect. Thanks.
Bye, Boozy.
Bye, Boozy.
But you like Jeepers Creepers, right?
Yes.
And
I like the movie, but...
And you support everything Victor Salva does?
No, I don't. I also am not racist.
Okay.
We know
see you later,
this.
buddy.
And white privilege is real.
Oh, good God. Good radio. All right, so...
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, tell me what you were just... Continue with what you're saying here.
Look, I think it's important that the victim is heard. I think that if anything, that the Me Too movement, one of the good things about the Me Too movement has done is that women need to be heard more. Righteous women.
Yeah.
Because I think there's also a dark double-edged sword that has come up with the Me Too movement on what sexual harassment is and or any of that. I think right now as a culture, we don't know what the rules are. We really don't. I mean, yes, we do. Like, sexual assault is wrong. That's black and white. But we are, especially for a lot of men, we are working out what is acceptable and what is not. It's going to get messy.
Yeah.
It is going to get messy, especially the older generation that have been privileged in that sort of regard. But let's get back to what Victor Salva did. It's tough, man.
It's like I feel like it's unforgivable. And I feel like it's hard to look past it. I don't know, but so you mentioned rehabilitation. Do you believe in rehabilitation?
I think for some people it works,
Yeah.
and they have to have a life. beyond that, for sexual predators, some of them, they can't find a job. They're living under bridges. They have pretty awful lives. And some of the damage they do is lifelong. Like, I believe that it still affects this young man.
Oh, completely, yeah.
Yeah. And I think he needs to be heard. And I hope he has that he can work past and get the help that he needs. I'm sure he has. I know Salva has publicly apologized.
Yeah.
For his crimes. The smiling in the mugshot, some people smile when they're upset. So I don't know.
Yeah, I also, where a lot of my reservations come from is that I bought those, I'm a big supporter of Shout Factory and Scream Factory.
Yep.
And they took a lot of flack for releasing those movies in the first place.
Sure.
And because they're always jam-packed with special features. And I was interested in seeing in those 4 hours of special features that they put on every single release, there's got to be something touching on this.
Yeah.
There wasn't 1 second. They
Okay.
spent the whole time praising Victor Salva, and Victor Salva it was Victor Salva praising himself. I do feel like he's a little bit of a sociopath as well.
Oh, yeah.
But
a lot of geniuses are.
Oh, totally.
Stanley Kubrick was.
Oh, completely. And that's the other thing is that a lot of people, there's all these people across the world who write off Jeepers Creepers like, fuck this guy, fuck this movie.
Yep.
But they have Rosemary's Baby tattoos.
Yeah.
Or they love Rosemary's Baby.
And the victim of Polanski's crime says, like, I'm over it. Please forget this. Let's all move on.
Yeah.
Too bad there's been other people that have come forward.
Yeah, like Polanski's a creep. Without a doubt. But the thing is, that's a legendary horror movie. And that's a movie that's a piece of cinema history. Mm-hmm. The problem is that a lot of people feel like Jeepers Creepers tackles themes of his actions.
Yeah.
And this is the wrong place to work out those issues.
Is it though?
He's eating these people. And murdering them, and Justin Long, that's what I feel like makes this movie so effective, is that Justin Long is so what's the word, you feel for him, you love him.
He also looks a lot like the victim.
Yeah, and he's got his fucking shirt cut for half the movie where he's got a little corny rose tattoo on his stomach. It's uncomfortable. It's weird to watch.
I read an article once talking about the first two Jeepers Creepers, and it made the case that, allegorically speaking, Jeepers Creepers is a movie where Victor Salva is angry at his victim for outing him.
Yes, that's kind of how I feel watching it. I rewatched it late yesterday, and I'd be wrong.
It's unmistakable.
It's sullied my appreciation for the movie.
Yeah.
I know what it is that that movie affected me in a way that I can't thank enough for. Because this was the movie that, on a more positive note, quickly, and then we'll get back to the grim stuff. Mm-hmm. When I saw this movie, it ruined me, and in the best way. I didn't sleep for weeks. It's the movie that made me fascinated with the horror genre, and made me want to stay up and watch this movie again, watch it again, beat it. I wanted to conquer this movie. Yeah. I didn't want it to win. And but I so that's the sweaty palms, sweaty feet feeling that I'm looking for in every single movie that I go see nowadays. Mm-hmm. I got most from Jeepers Creepers, and it has never been beaten.
Look, the horror genre, whether it be film or literature or painting, I'm a big Chet Zar fan, if you know who he is.
No.
Or Junji Ito. He's a Japanese manga artist.
Yes. Yeah.
They explore the deep, dark stories of the human condition, and unlike any genre I have ever read, witnessed, or whatever. It goes to uncomfortable places.
Yeah.
And I think, as a species, we need to look at those stories. I know that I got some friends who are not heterosexual, and I've had some uncomfortable conversations about when they first came into their own sexual lives. They had relationships with older men that taught them the ropes, because we live in such a hetero world.
Yeah.
Where we can as hetero people, we can explore our sexuality and not have it in the dark, not having the secret. It's getting better. It's way better than it was when I was young.
Yeah, totally.
Because when I was young, it was just starting to become acceptable for being gay. So they've had I've had a couple conversations where it says, yeah, my first experience was with an older man and I was young, but I had to be taught the ropes. Like, what was that movie that came out this year?
Call Me by Your Name.
Yeah. Like there was a lot of controversy about that film because in that story, and
like
in the
16-year-old boy, and
well, in the book he's even younger.
Yeah.
And that movie is told as a romantic love story, but you can make the argument that it's about a predator. That's
what I would make it out to be.
Infecting a young boy.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. And I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I guess now that, like, I'm 41 years old, I'm going to be 42 this August. And although I've never done something as awful as Victor Salva, I am human.
Yeah.
And part of being human is we make mistakes. And I agree there's some things you never come back from.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's a mistake, though.
Yeah. Well,
it's tough. It's like, to me, I have a tough time imagining he was so calculated. He took his time. He took his time to gain the trust of his parents.
Yeah.
And have you seen the documentary, what's it called? An Open Secret.
No.
I highly recommend checking out because it's unbelievable. It's made by Fran Walsh, who's Peter Jackson's wife. And she made like the West of Memphis documentary. It's fantastic.
I've seen West of Memphis.
So good. And but this one, it's offered for free online right now after the Me Too movement, because it's about basically men and a child sex ring in Hollywood, and how it's centered basically around Bryan Singer.
Yeah.
You know about Bryan Singer?
Yes, of course I do.
Okay, so here's something that in my research for this, for this episode, it blew my mind, and I felt so sick because this Blu-ray came out before that documentary. Like, people kind of knew about Bryan Singer, but he's not convicted. He hasn't been convicted, so people are still like he's innocent until proven guilty. I feel like the evidence behind him is pretty undeniable, and there's in the special features for Jeepers Creepers, when Victor Salva's boasting about how scary of a movie he made, he's talking about how he's like, I went to my friend's house. A bunch of my friends, they get together all the time, and like they were at this one house, and I took my movie to their house. It was Bryan Singer, and he says I was with Bryan Singer, and this movie scared the shit out of him, and he's like he loved that. I'm like, so that immediately, when you watch An Open Secret, you'll see about that house that he's probably talking about.
Yeah, and
it's like a whole, just little fucking ring of sick people, clearly. But that's it's tough.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
I get it, man. Like I get it.
Because if you have any ounce of empathy in your body, you know that like you would never sentence someone to die.
Yeah.
Because especially when something like this. But the problem is that I feel like he knows what he was doing, and I feel like his response to what he was doing by making this movie kind of shot himself in the foot.
But he was himself groomed.
Yes, totally. But do you think he should be in the position to be allowed to do this to other people?
Okay, what about artists that, like, there are writers in prison that have killed people.
Yep.
And they write powerful pieces of literature, and they make money off of it. Look, if you're going to paint this brush, there are so many great pieces of work. Tobe Hooper's one of them. Like, he was a man that had a very polarizing, controversial past.
I didn't know about that.
Huge drug addict.
Okay.
And there's a difference between, obviously,
hurting yourself and hurting others.
Yeah. Francis Ford Coppola, I've heard stories about. There are a lot of great pieces of art that if you're going to think this way, you are not going to experience.
Yeah.
Whether it be painters or, even the song Great Balls of Fire. Like, this is a guy who married his 13-year-old cousin.
I know.
You're not going to listen to that song anymore?
No, and I actually have that. Like, I made a list of, like,
here we go.
There's Roman Polanski, Paul Rubens, Jeffrey Jones.
Well, didn't Paul Rubens, he just got caught masturbating in the theater?
Yeah, but it's still, a crime's a crime in a lot of people's
There's a difference between
but I'm pretty sure he had child pornography as well.
Did he?
I could be hearsay. That's really take that back.
Okay. To me, he just jerked off in the theater, and I'm sorry.
It's just sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, then Jeffrey Jones, who he had child pornography.
Yeah.
Brett Ratner, who's been a rapist, who's like behind the Mummy movies. He's known to be a piece of garbage.
Yep.
He did the X-Files or X-Men 3: The Last Stand.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey, which was a hard one to that's one that was like, this guy has a brilliant body of work and he is brilliant as an actor.
Okay, but he
doesn't know what he did wrong though. When he came out and talked about it, he didn't realize, like, in his apology, he didn't comment on how what he did was wrong. It was more so about like, I'm a gay guy, so that's how I'm gonna live my life.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like he really made himself impossible to defend.
Yeah, no, and it is impossible. Like, I won't watch Last Tango in Paris again because of a similar thing, because when you watch that movie, you are watching a live sexual assault.
Like, I don't think I've seen that movie, actually. Is that Woody Allen?
No, that is Bernardo Bertolucci and Marlon Brando.
Yes,
and
yes.
Once again, I'm really sorry, I forget the female actor's name. There's an infamous scene. It's a sex movie. It's a very adult sex movie about a sexual awakening that both these people have. But in the scene, it's called the butter scene, where a bar of butter is shoved up the woman's genitalia, and I think also orifice. Yeah. This has been confirmed, and Marlon Brando is dead, and I think Bernardo Bertolucci is still alive. This actor, female actor, said that she was not told of that this was coming. That right before the infamous action happened, that Brando whispered in her ear, "I'm going to shove a tub of butter up your..." And so the screams and cries that you hear in that scene are real.
Fuck.
So when you watch it, you're watching a sexual assault in progress. And they had discussed it, like Brando had discussed it with Bertolucci, saying, "Okay, I'm going to do this." And so I for that reason alone, I will not watch that movie again. So I hear you.
I agree.
Keep going.
Okay, well, there's a couple more. Here, who do I have here? And then Kevin Spacey. Bill Cosby is a huge one.
Yeah, and he can burn in hell.
Yeah, exactly. He's toast. Casey Affleck, and how do you feel about Casey Affleck?
I think it's good he got called out. Did you see Brie Larson at the Academy Awards when she? Yeah. Good for her.
Yeah, I love that.
I think they need to be made public.
They do, but the thing is, man, I feel like, especially in this type of work, it's the same way as like you're a teacher.
Yeah.
Think about it in that point where if someone were to be convicted, actually caught and convicted of something like this.
I've been in this situation. Like
you've been like around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, would you feel comfortable them going back in even after any amount of time?
It took every ounce of courage.
Yeah.
One thing that made it palatable was there's a cycle to this behavior. And as an educator...
For those of you who don't know, Lee is an art teacher. Are you at elementary or high school?
Elementary.
Okay.
I'm also a father. Like, if this happened to my child, I don't think I would... I don't know what I would do. It would break me. But I'm also against the death penalty.
Yeah.
And education is so important, and teaching empathy as a skill in this day and age is so very important. I think if these people are made aware of the pain they have caused, because you don't come back. I believe that the soul is a physical entity. I'm agnostic. Yeah. But I believe that we have a physical thing inside of us, and you can damage your soul. So in some ways, I see Victor Salva as damned.
Yeah.
He's not coming back from this. But one thing that I like about the story of Jesus, of Jesus, is that he lived among the supposed societal wretched, the poor, the sick, the meek, and he had love for everybody. And it's hard to love broken people. But somebody loved Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Somebody loved all these people, and they didn't get that kind of love. They didn't get it. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that it's not tough. But you need to model positive behavior, and this is a lesson I've learned as a teacher. Model positive behavior, and you can reach these people. That's one thing I like about Jordan Peterson's a very controversial figure. I don't know if you know who
no.
he is. He's a person that was public against this new bill C-16.
Yes, okay, yeah, I know about that. Yeah.
I find value in some of the stuff he said. I think he's gone off the deep end recently, but he got in heat because he was caught with a photo with that Pepe the Frog and 2 other people, and he got a lot of heat for it. And he was saying, look, that image has been mutated throughout recent history, and he's at least talking to these right-wing fanatics, and he's trying to bring them down, bring them back to humanity. So Victor Salva, he's publicly apologized. If he does his penance and gives,
which I don't feel like he's done yet.
It's hard to, I don't know. I don't know. I agree that he appears very arrogant on the commentaries.
Yeah,
which I'm sure it's very, very hard. If I was Victor Salva, I would spend every day making my victims, their lives enjoyable, so that they can have the peace, and then make sure that their lives are livable and they can enjoy what is life.
I feel like the only thing that he could do to do that is to stay completely out of their lives and to stay completely out of the zeitgeist of the world. And that's where I have a problem with it, is that I feel like he did create some pretty memorable movies. We praise Jeepers Creepers openly. I still stand by it that I don't think that he should have been allowed to make Jeepers Creepers 3. I don't think that he should be allowed to be put in that situation where he's allowed to be. It's the same. To me, it's the same thing as being a teacher, and it's the same thing as like you've kind of forfeited that option. Like where that's a one strike you're out thing. I do believe that there is a chance that you can be rehabilitated and that you can live a normal life, but you're just gonna have to change your profession after that. And like when you're in that especially when you're in the public eye, I don't know why you would even want to. I don't know why you'd want to put yourself in those situations. But I also feel like he's kind of mocked the audience in a sense. Like even with Jeepers Creepers 2, he sets the movie around a high school football team,
and there's some very long, luscious shots of young men.
And that's
but that movie, I look at as this is the society going after the sexual predator.
Yeah,
you can make that argument. I mean, at the end, it is just a monster movie.
Yeah,
but like I said, this article I read said, and now it's him talking about how society was going after him, and it really is a beatdown for the creeper for a lot of it. Like the movie ends with him getting the creeper being defeated, and he goes back to sleep.
Yeah,
it's tough. I get why people don't want, and I respect your opinion of he shouldn't have been made number 3. I know it deeply affected the production. They had to shut it down once, and then bring it back. My favorite writer is one of my favorite writers is William S. Burroughs. Do you know who?
I don't know.
He wrote Naked Lunch.
Oh yes, the Cronenberg movie.
Yeah. And he had a very controversial life. He not only had a proclivity for young boys, he also killed his wife by accident. They reenacted the William Tell routine, and he shot his wife and he fled. He was not a good human being, and he was also a torrid drug addict. But damn, could that man write?
Yeah.
My favorite poem is "The Man Who Taught His Asshole to Talk," and it's a funny poem.
It sounds great.
It's great. It's exactly what you think it is. It's a very cheeky poem, and he gave a voice to a lot of people at the time that were not getting a voice, the homosexual community. And I think his work stands alone. I can understand you not wanting to read his literature. I think you're depriving yourself of a great American voice. He was part of the Beat generation. But I can understand why you wouldn't want to because of what he did. And I had this conversation with my mom last night because I knew that we were going to talk about this. And I said, what do you think about this? because she also likes writers that are racist, that are sexist, that
they're artists. They're very flawed individuals, and that's what partially makes them genius in their own right.
Yeah. If Victor Salva was a cop or a politician, he would be tarred and feathered. But because he's an artist, why is there this conversation where we're going back and forth?
Yeah.
And I think because these people produce art that when done right, it produces a strong emotion, and people connect to that. And I think that's one reason why that there's this hypocrisy going on. It is my hopes that Victor Salva has truly made amends and continues on the journey. The same thing with Mel Gibson. Like Mel Gibson,
which the only time we've ever received hate mail for the Terror Table is me apparently defending Mel Gibson. But I feel the same. I feel in the sense that he was in a manic rage, and he's
bipolar.
Yeah, he's legitimately a sick person. Mm-hmm. I think that like when it sounds bad, but I feel like we're like physical harm separated from mental harm is a little bit different.
Yeah, no, and like I said,
but apparently he also beat women too, which I hadn't known about when I made that statement. But like, the thing is, Mel Gibson's made some fucking incredible movies.
And also one of the differences about Mel Gibson is even after his drunken racist tirade, he went to the Jewish community and not only deeply apologized and learned more about their history, but donated millions of dollars to their causes. Like this man kissed the cactus, as he once said. Like it's one thing to say sorry, but it's one thing to devote your time and energy to learn. And as an educator, that's something that I deeply support.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to give Mel Gibson a chance. I do not endorse beating a woman at all.
Yeah. Or speaking to someone that way.
Oh, obviously. God, yeah. Like, listening to those tapes, like, you were like,
oh. You're listening to a complete psychopath. Like, he lost it for a little bit there. Yeah. Which happens to humans. That's what makes us
But here's something. His partner at the time deliberately recorded that.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I've had moments where I've lost my cool.
Yeah.
And
oh, for sure.
And we've said things that we didn't mean.
There's without a doubt that I've said things worse than what some of these people have, like where I did not mean them in the way that I was in a furious rage, for sure. Like there's without a doubt it's just when you're put in that public, in the public eye, it's impossible at this point. It's impossible to maintain an image.
Yeah, and I also know that one of the incidences where he allegedly punched, I think her name was Olia.
Yeah.
He claims that it was her that was being violent towards the child.
Yeah.
And he says that's the moment where I had to try and get at my child and save him. I don't excuse that. Keep in mind, I do not endorse violence towards children or women at all.
Yeah. It's just there's two sides to every story, but also it's impossible to defend it. It's impossible to defend it. But the bottom line is that, like you said it best, that you're an educator. You're the one who kind of sees this kind of behavior in people, and you can see how people can change. And that's why I still it's hard to say that this person should die, or this person should never be allowed to do this, or this person should never be allowed to do that. But I feel like when you go a certain point, there's just no turning back, that you're just it's just a punishment that you're going to have to deal with for the rest of your life. And it's as depressing as it is, when it affects a completely innocent person, that's where it becomes harder, because you got to think about what kind of emotional toll this took on that 10-year-old boy who wasn't able to go out and feel affection for a person because all he could think about was this creepy old 400-pound man touching him and videotaping it. And then after that, he serves time in prison, and then he still pseudo mocks him in this movie where it shows that the creeper wins. He wins in the original Jeepers Creepers. Mm-hmm. And that's why, honestly, I've grown to kind of like Jeepers Creepers 2 more.
Okay.
Which is an unpopular opinion, but it's because it's it's just a monster movie.
Yeah.
But it's tough to watch, and it's an impossible thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Because everyone feels different about it. But the bottom line is, if you have any basic human empathy in you, you know that people are flawed.
Mm-hmm.
People make mistakes. Obviously, the thing is, this man wasn't just one day like, oh, now all of a sudden I want to do this to a person. This is a long build-up in a tortured human being to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
My main thing is that I feel like he shouldn't be allowed to be in the position to hurt someone.
No, no.
And I think you agree with me.
That I agree with. That he should never.
But he was damaged long before this happened.
Yeah.
And and I know that it's hard to feel sympathy for someone who did this to that person,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to think about that. You have to think about how. But in my opinion, after all the research I did over the last couple of days preparing for this episode, I don't feel that Victor Salva has learned his lesson.
Okay.
I don't feel like he's rehabilitated. I don't think that he deserves to be where he is.
Okay.
I also don't think that these movies deserve to be written off because of him.
Okay, good.
That's how I feel. I feel like these movies, like, they employed a lot of other people.
Okay.
And that's an impossible thing. Like, this is one of Justin Long's breakout roles.
Yep.
It's tough to like, if you got to keep in mind that Justin Long wasn't like, I'm going to do this movie because I want to do it. Mm-hmm. He's doing it because his manager's also telling him this is a good career move for you.
Yep.
This is something that you'd be able to excel at, and this is going to expose you to a lot of people. So, like, can you really blame him?
No, I don't blame Justin Long. I don't blame
Gina Phillips.
I don't. And as you said earlier, film is a very collaborative effort.
Yeah.
And that, Ridley Scott, when the whole Kevin Spacey thing was coming out, quickly and brilliantly recast it for the very reason that there are so many artists that work very hard on his film project. So that's why I'm sort of like, be aware of who Victor Salva is. But think back to, like, I love sculpting, and that creeper design is beautiful.
It's amazing.
It's so awesome.
It's a shame that this can't be in the canon of some of the best horror designs ever.
Yep.
It's a shame that it's gonna be thrown away because of this. Like, obviously, what's happened to people personally is more effective than what this art can do. But given, if you forget about all of the bullshit behind it, this is a legendary horror movie. Mm-hmm. It really is, and it's deservingly so.
Yeah.
Like, there's some like, if you're ready to get into we'll get into the movie a little bit.
Yeah, we should actually. I was kind of say we should actually talk about.
But this is good though, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on. And
thank you.
Like, this is your first time coming on here, and you're talking about an impossible subject. This is impossible to talk about, and it is unbelievable that you came on for the first time and want to do this. And I'm proud of it so far. Okay. I think that we're on the right track. But, but now when we're talking about the movie, this movie's great.
Yes, it is.
It's terrifying.
Yes, it is.
Especially the first 45 minutes.
Yeah. I love that. The first 5 minutes is all characterization, and this movie moves like it's under 2 hours. Yeah, and then it has that great Hitchcockian shot of the creeper's car way off in the distance.
It's within 30 seconds of the movie opening.
Yeah, and then it's coming up and coming up and coming up.
It's faster and the honk, honk.
Yeah. No, it was so good, and even the flaws in the script, because at some point the two actors have to go back. That's like the main, as an adult, that's the problem. Yeah, and even Salva had admitted like it's a fair criticism, and how he had it was, we heard a scream down. What if that human is still alive? We need to, as a human right, do that. Yeah. Go back and see if they're alive, and I can buy that. Yeah. Now, would I do the same in the same situation?
If I was spooked that bad? No.
Fuck no. No. I'm down the highway going...
I believe that there is a human being that would, though. Yeah. Like, there's a person that would do what they did. Yeah. Yeah. Even going down that tube. Tunnel. Yeah, like, see, that's where it's like, it becomes so hard to believe, but at the same time, I still kind of buy it. Like, there's been some pretty fucking stupid people in those situations. Yeah, and they make that passive joke, like, this is the stupid thing that they do in horror movies. Yeah. How gorgeous is that shot of seeing all those bodies up in the wall, like in the ceiling? It's amazing, and it's amazing how the idea came to have, like, the flashlight, and he just puts it under his arm while he's tying his shoe. Yeah. that's cinema. That's movie magic.
That's
That's
skill.
what that is. Yeah, it is. And but even as a kid, like, that's why I got bugged for this movie. Terrified me. Like, it fucking ruined me. But even my friends were just like, they're so clearly fake. And they even cover their tracks and being like, he like sprays them to preserve them or whatever. But it's like, they're all mannequins. Like, they're like, this movie was made for what, $10,000? Like, it was actually a pretty low budget horror movie.
Jeepers Creepers. Oh no, it's millions.
Was it? Like, for
it,
production? I'm gonna look it up here.
I think it's about $5 million. It was still cheap, but no, it couldn't be that cheap.
I thought, because I know that they were screwed for budget eventually.
Yeah, I know, but even like the use of the Jeepers Creepers song,
$10 million.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, like even the use of the Jeepers Creepers song would have been in the tens of thousands.
Yeah.
So,
But that's another thing where this is the last time I'm going to bring it back.
no,
to that,
no, it's quite all right.
They show the record Jeepers Creepers, and it's Victor Salva's high school picture. Have you picked that up? Did you know?
I did not.
And I didn't pick that up because it was like some brilliant fucking film narratives. I read it online. Is that's like, it says Jeepers Creepers and it's Victor Salva's high school graduation picture.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's just like that kind of solidifies the idea that this is what he's giving off the reference, that this is regarding himself and his inner feelings and his torments. And it's like, that's where it makes it so hard to watch this movie. It makes it hard to separate the art from the artist when he connects himself so personally to it.
But don't you think that I get the sense that he struggled with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I don't feel like this is an apology, as if that's what you feel, because I do feel like the creeper wins.
It's not an apology.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that. I don't know. Maybe it's my own empathy and my own will that to see the humanity in Victor Salva.
Yeah.
That he knows what he did was wrong. Maybe I'm naive in that way.
Yeah.
I would like to hope that he's had those conversations in the dark going, oh my God, what I've did is wrong, and I've stolen the innocence. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I get where I land on it is there are so many artists that are broken, not good human beings. Hubert Selby Jr. is another one. He's a writer who wrote Last Exit to Brooklyn and Requiem for a Dream, the books.
Yes.
Not a nice man, but he openly talked about the ugly of the human condition, and I think that needs to be exposed.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you want someone to go there, they have to write from an authentic place.
I can see it. Yeah. It's so fucking hard.
I know, man.
I'm sorry. Let's get back to the fun of the movie.
Let's get back to the movie.
That was my bad. But yeah, like the movie's just jam packed with like that's my favorite part about it is just like you don't see monster movies like this anymore.
I know.
And especially even at that time, like there's so much imagery. Like when I think about the scenes that scared me when I was a kid. Think about like a 10 or 11-year-old Mitch watching these movies.
Oh my God.
That's what happened. And the scenes that kept me up at night were when they're at the cat lady's house and they're looking out into the field. They're like, did you bring a friend with you? And you see his silhouette there. That alone is fucking terrifying. The image of him dumping a bloody, blood-soaked carpet down that hole is terrifying. Him crawling on the walls is terrifying. Above all else, him sucking the tongue out of a beheaded corpse is like, man, this is nightmare fuel. Like it's like it's a real shame because this is like a classic horror movie. Like it is the type of movie that could really have legs for the next 40 years, but unfortunately it's just not going to happen because people are blacklisting it. And that's why I think that it says a lot in our stance on this podcast is I'm very against censorship. I think that everyone should be able to make their own opinions on what they, and the one very important thing that I didn't talk about before is that Harvey Weinstein was a big one in this, who was, okay, so if we're going to write off Victor Salva's movies and we're going to write off Roman Polanski's movies, we're going to have to write off Harvey Weinstein movies, the movies that he's been involved with. Bada boom, bada bing, all your movies are gone. That dude was fucking behind so many fucking movies. And it's just like, there's shitty people everywhere. There's shitty people beside you. If you're at work right now, there's someone around you that is hiding something. There's someone that could completely destroy themselves at any point. The a human mind can break.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we're talking about art.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about art, and Jeepers Creepers is a pretty admirable piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
Though it has its flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Giselle, I think, is one of the worst stereotypes in horror movies. How they can explain that she's the psychic character.
Yeah. Okay.
That comes in. Do you agree with that kind of?
Yeah, it's cliched. But the horror, I'm a little easy on the horror tropes because it's just at some point suspension of disbelief has to kick in.
Totally.
At the same time, there's a point where you go no.
Yeah.
So I get it. That didn't bother me so much because at that point there'd been so much good stuff.
Yeah. I agree.
To me, I still remember when going back to that scene where Justin Long looks up and sees all those bodies. That's straight out of a Herman and Bosch painting in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And like that image, it stays with you.
It does. And what also stays with you is the ending of this movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like. And that's how I feel about, have you seen the movie Alpha Dog?
Yeah.
With Anton Yelchin?
Yes.
Rest in peace, the late, great Anton Yelchin.
Yeah.
I would compare, when I first saw Alpha Dog, I was like, that reminds me of like when I saw Justin Long in Jeepers Creepers, is that he's so, like, you feel for this character,
mm-hmm.
you know, and like, he's sympathetic. And hearing Anton Yelchin cry can make me cry.
Yeah.
Hearing Justin Long cry in the darkness, like how Giselle says he's going to at the end of the movie, and then he does.
Yeah.
It's like, man, it was heartbreaking. And like that scene, it kept me up for weeks.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a different question.
Yes.
You've seen The Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Yes.
Martin Scorsese.
Love it.
It's about a man who's still alive today.
Yes.
Who is a fucking piece of shit.
Garbage.
Who has financially benefited from that film. He has ruined the lives of
many
people. In fact, last I heard, he was in Australia.
That is a great point that you could have brought up earlier, and it would have made me. Yeah, you stumped me.
Who is involved in, I guess, in another sort of shady financial scheme.
Yeah.
This is a man who sold out some of his best friends, if I'm not mistaken, some of his family. Like ruined them.
He's used people to get where he was.
Yeah. And that movie is a big, long warning about the evils of greed.
Yeah.
And in some ways, so is the book. That movie's exhausting.
Yes.
Like I literally like sweat. Like I was like, marinated in sweat. But he's benefited not only financially but brought back into the public fold. I like that movie a lot.
Yeah, me as well.
So
that's a very good comparison that I've never heard talked about before.
Monster. Charlize Theron.
Yeah, Eileen Warhouse.
There's a movie that dares romanticize what she did.
Yeah.
It focuses on the love story, and that's hard.
It makes you feel bad for her.
It does.
Yeah.
But during her trial, she openly admitted, no, I stalked these people. Yeah. I murdered them. But here's a woman who had been treated like garbage her entire life and just had enough. Yeah. Now, the filmmaker, and I respect her, she's a great filmmaker, yes, decided to make a romantic notion about her crimes. Financially benefited from it.
I know. Yeah, so it's tough. It's impossible.
Hollywood has a long history of celebrating bad behavior.
It's very true. It's very true.
So you're going to have to like paint that brush long and wide. I guess the only thing I can...
Same way with music, too.
Oh, God.
Yeah, music's even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like Axl Rose...
Say goodbye to Guns N' Roses, good riddance.
Yeah. Axl Rose is not a nice human being.
Led Zeppelin...
What about Led Zeppelin?
Oh, man. Led Zeppelin are pieces of shit.
Are they?
Yeah. Well, they were at one point.
Okay.
And, yeah, no, man. There's lots... Is it John Lennon?
Yeah.
A woman beater? Like, we're gonna write off the Beatles completely?
Yeah.
It's tough, man. It's a very difficult situation, and the fact of the matter is that everyone's going to pretend like they know more about it than the next person.
I like Ike and Tina Turner. Ike was not a good human being.
Yep, totally. I agree.
Like, I love Tina Turner.
Yeah.
So...
Do you feel like we've covered the movie quite well?
The movie itself, not as much, but it's
been a very good conversation.
It's one of those conversations. Okay, let's get to the movie and then
we'll close up.
Yeah. Look, it is such a well crafted. Like you can tell that Victor Salva, and I think he had good people behind him. Like when you've got Francis Ford Coppola coming to your set and saying yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah, and he credits a lot of his inspiration from Hitchcock's The Burbs.
Yeah.
The Burbs. Hitchcock's The Burbs featuring Tom Hanks.
Yeah. It is a skillfully made horror movie that has great atmosphere. I think the acting is great.
Yeah. Creature design, amazing. Particularly the best part about the movie.
Yeah.
I feel like Jonathan Breck made an icon, and it's a shame that we're never going to get to see him. Yeah. And at that point, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's brutal. Because he could have stand beside, he could, like, that. I know a lot of people don't love Jeepers Creepers, but I think that they're kind of crazy. I think that's a pretty special horror movie.
I understand why they would want to, and I respect their decision.
Yeah.
I will not think less of them. They are missing out on a very terrifying movie, at least the first one. But I respect I respect and admire their views.
Did you end up watching 3?
Yeah.
What'd you think? I did as well.
Disappointing.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, disappointing. Giant tease. Like we were supposed to know the history of the creeper, and we never really got it.
Yeah.
It started off well.
Yeah, and we were also supposed to get Gina Phillips back.
We got at the very end.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll get a 4.
No, definitely not. I definitely don't think so.
You could tell that the money was taken away from this movie. Like I heard that they were all ready to go, and then it was made public, and rightfully so, about Salva's past. Yeah. I'm glad they took out that backstory about the lead character and her father. There's a line that was taken out.
I didn't even know because I guess I saw people. I follow people who saw test screenings and reported on that.
Yeah.
And then once I saw it, it wasn't in there.
No, it was taken out, rightfully so. Like, ooh, dude.
That's where I feel like he shouldn't have even been given the option in the first place. But he's also probably pissed off because of what's happened to his career. But at the end of the day, he did it to himself.
I've never seen any of his other movies.
Never seen Powder?
I've seen Powder.
Yeah. But I never saw Clown House, and I don't think I ever will.
You know what? I don't think I'm going to either, out of respect, because the young man.
Yeah, it's a time capsule of a horrible time. But yeah, no, I feel like we did a pretty good job talking about this. I applaud you for coming on and choosing this. I know this actually wasn't your first choice, but I think it's a brave choice to have this as your first time.
It was either that or The Entity, and that's a great date
movie. That's also another controversial movie. That's fantastic, though. Yeah. It's great. But we'd love to have you back.
I would
countless
love to come
times.
Back.
And sorry, this is the first time in 78 episodes where Boozy's had to take off or someone's had to take off. It's unfortunate, but we all have lives outside of this. You get it. And but I'm just happy that we could make this happen. So good luck on your trip back to
Thank you
Regina.
for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. This has been a blast, and we really appreciate you coming on. So if anyone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way they can do so to talk about horror movies? Or are you not into that?
No, I would go through Rank and Review. Rank, RANKN Review at gmail.com. It is Larry Parsons' site. And email, but if they want to get a hold of me, whether you want to love or hate me, and I totally understand, that's how you would do it.
Well, man, I've gotten to know a lot of our active listeners, and I know what they like and what types of people they gravitate towards too. And I knew that you were going to be exactly one of them, so I'm happy you could be here.
Well, I'm very happy to be here, and as I said earlier, you've got something here. I think your show is amazing.
Thanks, man.
The chemistry that you have with your co-hosts, you clearly know your stuff as well. I agree with a lot of your opinions. Boozy, I know you're not here right now, but you're awesome. I'm sorry that I cut you off. I'm a little pushy when it comes to it, so I'm sorry. Also, my name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff. Awesome.
He's funny, and your partner also, Courtney.
Yeah.
She's very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's all right.
She's good stuff.
Yeah, she's okay.
Yeah.
Let's not go too far, but
okay. Okay.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you guys next week for our Jurassic Park episode. You want to tell everyone to stay spooky?
Stay spooky.
Good night, everybody.